that's the extent of it. That would be the extent of it. I gotta share this. Um, okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's the extent of it, is a holiday. So Juneteenth and a reparations debate, holiday or hype. You know, a lot. Are we holding too much? Are we holding too much? Are we giving it too much thought or too much relevance? Because I look at it, what is it doing for Black Americans today? How is it helping Black Americans today? We don't have reparations. Congress is not even talking about it. The Congressional Black Caucus is not even pushing for it to be talked about. So, what are we doing? Okay, what are you supposed to do with this holiday? Yes, we could teach children of all backgrounds, especially Black children, the significance of Juneteenth. But there are some people that don't give a shit about it. There are some Black people that don't. I know Judge Joe Brown, he has his his thoughts about it, the way he sees it. And he's like, listen, why does somebody have to tell you that you're free? Like, that's nothing to celebrate. That's nothing to celebrate, to say, okay, you're free now, go live your life. So yeah, that's not directed towards you, Dana. Oh, okay. I don't really care. All right. So trying to see where Peter is at, and I'm tired of him coming up in here late. It's a hot mess. What else is going on? Oh, honey, I was supposed to be in Paris tonight at the Beyonce concert, and I did not plan my trip properly, even though I did see her in New York. So I just want to throw that out there. So yeah. Um, and I think I'm holding too many spaces out the week. Maybe I'll just do a space on Sundays and not Thursdays. Thursdays is always hit or miss. Uh Am I on YouTube? Yes. Okay, you guys can see. Is this live, Jaren? Yes, this is live. This is Jaren's on YouTube. This is live. So yeah. So maybe I'll just stick to the Sunday space, because Sundays seems to do very well with spaces. And whenever the judge feels like doing his Tuesday space, then we'll do that just for the judges on Tuesdays, and that's whenever he's available. And then that'll be it for spaces. Because me adding Thursday, sometimes it does not click. It doesn't click. I don't know if it's too late. I don't know if it's other spaces going on. Don't know. And sometimes a part of me don't really care too much. So I care, but I don't care. Um, let's see. Let me see. I'm just looking to see other what else is going on here. I don't know. And I also think that algorithms, I think algorithms don't like people to talk too much about certain things. Okay. Thank you, Kataria. I see you in the YouTube chat. Peter following in Judge footsteps. I don't know why, honey. You got to have his resume and his caliber, and he does not. I mean, I like having Peter as a co-host, but he's about to be fired, and I'm about to replace him with somebody else. Because I hate when people are late. I don't like it. I have other shit to do. Mm, I don't like it, and this shit is annoying right about now. All right, I'm still trying to just set up a couple of things here. Uh, yeah, I don't know. And I thought about it. I'm like, I don't think Tyler Perry's who. Oh, I meant to delete that. I don't think people like to talk too much about Juneteenth. I think that is just worn out. And I don't know what the hell is really trending right about now. All right. I know one thing. If he don't show up in the next 5 minutes, I'm closing out this space because this shit is annoying. You like Peter's voice could tell you? Yeah, I think he's on Puerto Rican time too. He gonna be on the unemployment time. He gonna be on unemployment time. Uh, and you know another thing, my left eye was twitching today. It was twitching earlier in that, like an early afternoon, and I'm like, who in the hell is talking about me? Because you know that's what that mean when the left eye is twitching. And sure enough, something did happen to where I had to deal with someone in a discourse. I had discourse with somebody in a late afternoon. And I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. Peter, honey, you keep coming up in here late. Like your ass gonna be unemployed. I'm about to find a
I,
new fucking co-host.
I thought we were doing 10 o'clock from the other day, remember?
Well, I ain't say nothing. What I say? I did. I would,
Yeah, you said we were going to start doing
did
10
you
to
see the
12.
space? I said 9:30, but why the fuck you ain't remind me for 10 o'clock then?
I was at dinner. I was drinking.
How the fuck are you fat? Like all you do is eat and drink. How much
I
fucking
went out
eating?
with my.
I think you'd be lying because I can tell you're a very selfish person. That's why you don't have no kids or a wife because you don't want that responsibility. Every time
You
you
right.
always talk about you eating or drinking.
I went out with my parents.
Your parents.
Yeah, they're aged. Who knows how long they have left?
Why you ain't remind me for 10 o'clock? Because that could give me enough. That could have gave me time to get settled. I'm rushing. I put 9:30. I'm like, damn. Like you need to remind me. I can't think of every damn thing. You saw the damn
I
space
apologize.
I said, and you saw the space I said 9:30. Now I don't want to do the
I,
space now because I do remember that it's supposed to be 10 o'clock. A part of me don't even
we're
want to do the
already
damn space.
we're already here. It's only another 18 minutes.
You said another 18. Still, like I did forget. I don't know. I need to start writing stuff down. I be having too much on my mind. I
Listen,
just
these are
cussed
tumultuous
somebody out
times.
today. Well, I ain't cussed no one out. I just told somebody today go fuck themselves, and I don't like being in that mindset. I don't like that energy. I don't. But what you not going to do? You're not going to sit up here and punk me. And I'm not going in details as to what happened, but I'm not. And this is off social media that this took place. But you're not going to punk me or disrespect me and think you talk to me any old kind of way. So I had to deal with that energy, and I don't like dealing with that type of energy. So it just threw me off. Cause and then
I don't blame you.
yeah, and then two, I was gonna put it for 9 because I got used to 9, and then when you said 10, it's like, damn, that's right, it was 10 o'clock. So Juneteenth, honey, do you celebrate it, Peter?
Uh, I didn't do much today, so it's a holiday.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think that's celebrating.
Yeah, but what honestly, what is there to celebrate? Like holiday or hype? You know, is I just think it's a bunch of hype, and I probably need to switch up this title here a
Well,
little bit.
that's a good point though. But I mean, so let's take it and apply it to every holiday. What holiday do you actually sit there and get philosophical and maybe get spiritual and be like, you know what, I really have to appreciate, these individuals. So I'll get like that sometimes for like Veterans Day and Memorial Day, because without people who go and put their life on the line, we don't have any of this. But for every other holiday, I'm kind of just, I'm like, yeah, I'm chilling. I'm, you know, having a good time and enjoying the company that I'm with. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, because Columbus Day, don't know, I look at it like this. They be having Columbus Day parades, that's fine. And I think, whatever organizations or groups come together to make it happen, to get the city permits, yada, yada, yada. However, I look at it the same energy that Americans in general have for Columbus Day or any other holiday, Labor Day, Veterans Day, have that same energy. If you're not downplaying or talking shit about Columbus Day, then don't downplay and talk shit about Juneteenth. That's where I'm coming from with it. Have the same energy you have for Columbus Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, even 4th of July. Then keep that same energy on Juneteenth. Don't switch it up because it's Juneteenth and it's about Black Americans specifically being free. Also, also, um, it's to me, I don't want to celebrate a soldier saying that we were free, because technically when they arrived in Galveston, Texas, there were no social media, there were no phones back then, so news traveled slower than a Pony Express, so but 2 years there were still slaves in Texas and Kentucky, because that was in Gavin, Texas. Was it 1865 June 19th? But you were technically free since 1863, 2 years prior. So somebody telling you free, what are you celebrating? You were already free. And why do you got to celebrate what somebody told you, right? When there were Black soldiers in the Union Army, along with the Confederate a little bit, but mainly it was the Union Army. And the judge said this in a video I uploaded. He was like, there were some Black soldiers that were telling the slaves, hey, you're free now, but they didn't want to believe them because they were Black. It had to really come from a white person. But why are you celebrating somebody telling you that you're finally free? That's really nothing to celebrate. So that's kind of the conversation I want to have. And on top of that, when I put reparations debate, I noticed nobody talks about reparations anymore on these X spaces, right? I guess everybody burnt out from it.
Well, no, Lloyd does. I was just in one of Lloyd's spaces. I had to go on an alt because he doesn't allow Thursday night is lineage only spaces, so he doesn't allow anyone not from the lineage to come to the space and even listen. So I had to go on an alt. But there was only 5 people in there, and he was even saying he tried to bring up my alt account, and I just didn't make any sound because I didn't want to get kicked out. I wanted to hear what he had to say, but there was 5 people in the space, 5. And she's like, I don't know why everybody in the space pushed for lineage only speakers and people that are going to be here on Thursday if nobody shows up. So
And why are
I
people not
guess it
showing
is
up?
dying
Because
up.
I totally understand. I totally understand where he's coming from with that. And listen, this is a public platform, so if you want to just have your own secluded space with just lineage, you should kind of take it off of X and have your own like Zoom meeting and send the link out to your people and have them send it out to their people so it could be exclusive. Because whether it's Facebook, TikTok, or X, or what's that Apple shit that no one's talk about anymore because they try to be exclusive, but it's
Blue Sky.
no, what was the it was Like we have X space, and what did they call the space on Apple?
Oh, is it Threads? Well, that was
No,
Instagram,
that's
right?
Instagram. See
Threads.
how we forgot all about that shit.
I don't even know what you're
Yeah, because remember
talking
before
about.
you had to have an Apple phone to be a part of a bullshit space. Now nobody talks about that shit. I forgot the name. But hey, Sway me, let me know. I gotta text you if you're gonna be on a panel. I'm gonna do a panel for Friday night. But yeah, so my thing is, why are we not having more in-depth conversations? Because the reparations talk was heavy during the election season. Why, I don't know. And now, okay, Trump in office, why are we not talking about legislation, tangibles? Juneteenth.
Well, Brandon, did you see Brandon Johnson said he was going to pay reparations out?
Yeah, and I actually spoke to P Ray, and she was at a Juneteenth event at a community center, and so I'm gonna link up with her tomorrow so we could, record or talk about it or whatever. But maybe that'll be part of the space tomorrow, Sway Me, on the with the panel. But so yeah, but they're lumping it with LGBTQ. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna talk about Juneteenth, we need to talk about tangibles being attached to it. Fuck all that celebrating a day that you people in Texas found out you was free. In Texas, you found out. And it was the Texas holiday, but they made it a federal holiday under the Biden administration. So, hey, the Negro. Go ahead, Peter.
And Dana, I would be upset if I mean, and I'm not from the lineage, so I can't speak to this, but putting myself into the shoes of someone from the lineage, I would be upset to have that linked to LGBTQ, whatever else, nonsense they come up with. Like it should be separate and distinct. And I ask this of a lot of people, what comes first in who you are? Is it your blackness or is it your sexual orientation? And a lot of times they don't answer it, or they say no, it's a amalgamation of both, and they won't give a solid answer on it, which I find disturbing.
Yeah. I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna hold that right there because I'm gonna go to Negro and Sway Me. And guys, if you want to request to come up, do so, and please share this out. And I actually sent Lloyd a link to this space tonight too. But I want to revisit that what you just said, Peter. But go ahead, the Negro.
Hey, good afternoon or good evening.
Hey.
Happy Juneteenth Day. Black Power fists all day. Juneteenth and the reparations debate, holiday or hype. I'm gonna say the reason why it's hype is because people are exploiting the holiday, right? And I'm gonna go one step further. With the flags, the Juneteenth Day flag, as well as the Black Heritage flag, both of those flags are not federally recognized flags. Also, you have Native American people underneath the freedman status are trying to co-opt it and talk about it and distort the true intentions of that holiday. I have it on my page. Shout out to Native Americans in philanthropy on LinkedIn that are making these type of talking points. One of the things that they're talking about is Juneteenth from a Black Indigenous perspective. It wasn't per se Indigenous people that were freed; it was Negro people, and this is the reason why Negro is very important and very vital when we're talking about historical accuracy of the history that is being portrayed here. And due to the fact that these flags are not federally recognized, I'll circle back to that, people are allowed to alter and change the flag. And the biggest thing is the flag represents the people. If you put protections around the flags, eventually you're going to have to protect the people. See, people are really missing the mark on this conversation, and that's why it's not what is supposed to be a true holiday. It's nothing but a hype, unfortunately. I have to say. So, and on top of this leads into the conversation of reparations as well, because we want to go full circle with this. Um, this is how come because we're not asking for the necessary protections for the flag. How can you ask for protection for the people and what is owed? I'm gonna leave it short and sweet with that. You can check on my page to see what I'm talking about Native Americans and philanthropy and their talking points in regards to Indigenous people and how they should celebrate Juneteenth Day. I guess it's all lives matter for Juneteenth Day, not about the Negro. Just saying.
So I don't understand what you said. The protection or the authentication of a one flag is important
No,
for
no.
the holiday to be celebrated properly.
So okay, yeah, I'll clarify it with you, Peter. What I'm saying is that it's kind of crazy that they'll give federal recognition for a federal holiday so people can get time off, right? But they won't give federal protection for the flags that represent the holiday so that people won't misappropriate those flags. That's where I'm getting at.
I got you. Like almost like a stolen valor for people in the military, that type of protection for the flag.
No, what I'm saying is that what I'm alluding to and saying again is that it's funny how they can federally recognize the flag, but they're not going to protect the flag so it won't be misappropriated on the holiday. That's what I'm alluding to. Now, anybody can put up any type of flag and say that they're celebrating Juneteenth Day, which is distorting the value of what Juneteenth is and what it's supposed to represent and mean. Therefore, it makes it into a hype.
Okay, I didn't even know there was an official flag for the day.
Yeah,
I
it
had no
is.
idea.
Well, there's two flags that should be flown. One is the red, white, and blue one that my man Snugs have with the star, salute to him. And the other one is the black American heritage flag, which is the Negro Nation flag. It's not me saying that. It's the book, The Rallying Point, that Melvin Charles has written in regards to that. These are the two official flags that should be representing our community. But people want to wreck any other type of flag and disrespect and devalue it, which makes it nothing but the hype.
Is this the second one? Is the one Mark Carter has on his profile with the sword in the middle?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. That's the black character. Yes, yeah, yeah. You should give me donation for giving me self awareness on these things.
All right, Sway Me, how you doing?
Good evening, Dana. How are
I'm
you?
doing good. It's been a minute.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm interested. I will be around tomorrow, so that'll
Okay,
work.
good. Cool.
Okay. So, I'm going to, from the perspective of freedmen, right? I'm going to stick to the history when we talk about Juneteenth. And that is the emancipated or the formerly enslaved and their descendants. And so this correlates to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 15th Amendment. So there's a certain group of Americans that fought in the Civil War to save America, to save the Union. And they lost, some of us lost, or our ancestors lost their lives. So this is not a party or hype, not to me. And it goes, as you said, goes right to reparations and the 14th Amendment. So that's my perspective on it.
So, Juneteenth, holiday or hype, do you think that the conversation when this holiday comes up needs to be centered around tangibles, legislation, specifically?
Most
Hmm.
definitely. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're holding a rally in DC on July 3rd through the 5th. I'll post it in your purple pill. And we're literally going to be out there in front of the Supreme Court speaking about the 14th Amendment, how we align with the Trump administration on their interpretation of the 14th Amendment. And then we're also going to have seniors so we can have some wisdom from them, from those that have these lived experiences and not some others telling our narratives and distorting what the holiday is all about. We have veterans on the panel. So this is, we're serious about representation as freedmen. This is not about hype, not on my end and how I'm moving.
Right. Um, so one of the reasons why, and I said this earlier before most people came in here, me coming up with this topic, of course, is Juneteenth. Second, I have not been hearing a lot of reparation spaces, and because at one point it's like, oh my God, I'm tired of talking about reparations, and now no one talks about it. And three, you know, to swing back to what you were saying, Peter, is this LGBT, this is Pride Month. And I don't know, and I have to do this research, who exactly brought the idea to Congress to make Juneteenth a federal holiday.
It was Miss Opal, and I think she was with some others.
Oh, who's Opal? She's a congresswoman?
No, she had been an activist that was a part of her movement,
Okay.
her goal, to make Juneteenth. And then she was able to team up with, of course, some Democrats in the Biden administration, and they went ahead and pushed it forward. But I will say this, Trump also had it in his platinum plan for the 2020 election.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did.
Because he did post into Truth Social. He was like, ugh, so many holidays. Everybody got so many days off. People need to work. He didn't say happy Juneteenth or nothing. And I'm like, okay, is that him taking a slight at the Biden administration because they're the ones who got it ushered through under their administration and not him, you know? So he's just going to kind of overlook it subliminally, you know? So it's, and then two, I wanted to bring this, is because it's Pride Month, I've seen, and I think it was in Chicago today, that they were trying to include Juneteenth along with LGBTQ. It was something, and that's what I want to talk. I'm gonna get more information. That's what I want to talk about for the panel for tomorrow. It was something with reparations and with the mayor wanting to talk about, wanting to bridge together Juneteenth and Pride. And that's a lot. I hear that. I see and hear that a lot.
This is also Black American History Music Month. So, and that was declared with President Carter. So, and of course, Obama changed it to African American, but, we know it's Black History Music Month. There are certain things that, look, I'm trumping. I'm just saying it's about the people and not your sex or gender before. That's where I'm at. It's about being a freedman and standing on your ancestors and what they have done and sacrificed for you to be here today and carrying on their vision and their mission as a founding population of America. And we deserve all kinds of respect instead of, tagging us every time with some other group, because they don't have the equity that we have. And we have ancestors that were LGBTQ, but they didn't wear that on their sleeves. That wasn't how they engaged with
I
people.
agree with you. How do you feel about that? And how do most people feel about the commingling of the two causes and using a lot of the suffering that was done and was experienced through the Black American experience to then say that our experience as an LGBTQ member is very similar, and you need to support us in the same way. I don't equate them in any way, shape, or form, and I think it's actually disrespectful to do so. How do you feel about that?
It's totally disrespectful, and I think also degrading and dehumanizing to a degree for our people. And at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and say it's traumatizing for the people. Why is it that every time something happens, our plight is highlighted with everyone else's? And I haven't seen the LGBTQ community do anything to support our reparations movement.
Right. And the Congressional Black Caucus either. Hey, Black America. Hey, Michael. Go ahead, Black America. I'm gonna swing to Michael.
Hi, Sister Dana. How you doing? Hello, everyone, and
Good.
hello to one of my other favorite people, Miss Wayme, because I just love her. She's a sweetheart. She's down to earth, and I just love her spirit. Well, I'm in Chicago. I'm really disturbed on what's going on, as far as with these Juneteenth events. This is this is a setup, and this is orchestrated, especially in Chicago this year, because every year the Sauber Museum have a big Juneteenth festival. Now, the girl that was in charge of it for the past was for 3 years before this year. She made sure that the FBA flag was there. All the different the American flag, of course, and the other two FBA flags, whatever, was always present and all surrounded all around the museum. I mean, this sister, this event planner, she's a good friend of my daughter, so she made it where it was definitely a Juneteenth event. This year they told her they no longer needed her service. They moving it to a new direction. Guess what now? Then I usually do it every year because my daughter and we have a food vending business that we do in the summer. We sell vegan food. So this year I went ahead and applied. Didn't know about my daughter friend not being the event planner for this event. Then we get this no rejection notice, whatever, and saying, oh well, you don't have the right paperwork, da da da, whatever. It was just some BS because they knew we were that we were freemen, So that's what it was. Because it was a tether that sent me the email back that works at the DuSable Museum. She's Black Colombian. So I went ahead and called my daughter's friend to find out what's going on, why I get rejected. She said, well, that's when she told us that they kicked her off there when they don't let her be the event planner anymore. They went to another direction. So they used this company called Wine and Only Company. Now, when you hear wine, Juan, only and company, what's the first thing you think of? I want to hear Sister Sway tell me, what is that first name of wine? What does that indicate?
Sounds Caribbean to me.
Well, one, yeah, Caribbean or Hispanic or Latin,
Latin,
Latino.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. They have Hispanic, Africanizing, and everything. My girlfriend, I didn't even go to the event today because I said I was going to go up there just to check it out. I was just too livid to do that because that was about a week ago when they informed me the news, and when I found out that my daughter's friend is not the event planner anymore. So my girlfriend, my daughter's godmother, went up there, and she said, "You're right. You would thought you was at an African Caribbean and a gospel fest all in one." She said she didn't see no FBA flags up there and nothing. She said they had all this red, black, and green and everything, all these Caribbean colors, red, black, green, and yellow. Nothing. It was nothing like it was before. So I'm just saying that this is done on purpose. They did that to all the events in Chicago this year. All these different Juneteenth events, they have all Africanized it, Caribbeanized it. So this is done. This is done as an attack purpose. This is done as a slap in our face, Sister Dana. They're doing this on purpose. I got a cousin that lives in Georgia. She's been showing me some stuff. She showed me a Pan-African Juneteenth festival. She sent me a flyer of it. I'm like, what the? A Pan-African Juneteenth?
Yeah,
And
it's yeah, that's because the Pan African people, they're trying to lump it all in with us, like that African and everybody else throughout the diaspora. And it's like, no. And it has to stop. Like, no, we are not. With Juneteenth is not about the continent of Africa. It's not about the diaspora. It's about America and the Black Americans. So go ahead, Michael.
What's good, Peter? What's good, Dana? How y'all
How are
doing
you?
tonight?
So
Um,
man, happy Juneteenth.
yeah, happy Juneteenth to the room, man. I'm gonna say shout out to the room, man. Um, what I'm gonna say is it a holiday or is it hype? It's definitely a holiday. You know, with the events and everything, I feel like it's up to the people who celebrating it to organize it the right way to their liking. Like if you don't want no Africans or no Caribbean people to be happy about slavery ending in the Americas, because let's be real, it was slaves in Jamaica, slaves in Haiti and all that too. So for the last slave to be ended in America, in Texas, I feel like that's a win for everybody. They don't have to celebrate it though. I wasn't celebrating the day like that, but I definitely popped the bottle and sat back and chilled and took off of work. But you know what I'm saying? It's definitely a holiday, and it should be more respected because it should not, we
Well,
should not
I
we
have
shouldn't.
to interrupt. I don't know where you
Hold,
going, brother. I don't know
hold
where
on,
you
hold on, real quick. Hold on, real quick, man. I ain't say nothing when you spoke. Hold on, real quick, man. I ain't say nothing when you spoke.
Black
Wait a
America,
minute.
Hold on,
let
mama.
him finish. Let him finish. Black America, because he didn't interrupt nobody. So as soon as he finished, then you could rebuttal against him.
But I was saying, I don't believe no Irish. We should have no Irish Day, no St. Patrick's Day before, uh, some Black American Day. You know what I'm saying? It, so for Trump to not try to acknowledge it, I understand it. He don't really like black people, but my whole thing is who needs his acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna quote Nas real quick. He said, Abe Lincoln did not free the slaves. Progress was made. We forced a proclamation. F your proclamation. So who cares what they think? And you just be great. Happy Juneteenth, man. Do your thing.
Black America, you want to respond?
What I was saying is, I don't care. Anybody can celebrate. When we was at the Juneteenth last year, we had a lot of whites out there. We had all Caribbeans or whatever. There wasn't no takeover. It was a respect thing. They respected Juneteenth. This year, they're like, dog it, that's all right. We taking over. We ain't calling it. We're not having a flag like that. We're not having this. They not acknowledging nothing about our ancestors. It's all about them. They want to tether on to what we have, and they being very nasty about it. I know Sister Swamy sees this too. They are being, and Sister Dana, you got to see this too. They are being, I mean, this is the worst year I ever seen it ever in life. This is like done on purpose. They all these Pan Africans, especially here in Chicago. Chicago is the capital of Pan Africanism. And when you see the speakers, they all old people too. The speakers that they usually have at the Juneteenth event, Sister Dana, usually be like, they'd be like in their 30s and 40s and, something like that. And, no more than 50 something years old, whatever. They're pretty and nice younger still speakers. These people are like, my parents age 70, 80, 90 years old. Like, wait a minute. And then they all got African last names. I'm saying, why are y'all letting them be speakers? Oh, we got enough FBA people here that's prominent, that's still, fighting for us to get reparations, whatever. And they're like in their 70s and 80s, whatever, but they don't want those people to talk. They don't want them
So
to
let me
talk.
let me ask you this question: How old are you, Black America? How old are you?
I'm a generation X, so I'm in my late 50s.
Late 50s.
Yes.
Oh, I'm X two, but I'm in my 40s, almost 50. So
Oh, okay, yeah. So you what I call you a baby X? I guess you're a baby.
I guess,
Yeah,
but
you're a
this is
baby. I'm
but
a
this
late
is the
X,
thing
and
though.
you're a
So
baby X.
right,
Yeah.
we have to remember, because I have to keep remembering myself. The baby boomers, they ushered in Pan-Africanism heavy, and at the time, I would say Stokely Carmichael, when he left SNCC and kind of went Black Panther and then left Black Panther. So that's when you started seeing the 70s. That's when you started seeing the Pan-Africanism movement start ticking up after the Black Panthers, and then heavy in the 80s and definitely in the 90s. And even at one point, like, a lot of Black people were, respecting them, like cheering them. But that changed when we started talking about reparations, which came, let's just say, in the last 7 years, a decade, right? In the last decade, almost decade, when we start talking about reparations, that's the Pan-Africans were like, okay, let's talk about reparations, but we all going to get it throughout the diaspora. And that's where you saw the separation. But a lot of these Pan-Africans, they were grown adults in the 70s. So they're the ones who are in office, or who part of these NAACPs or these other big organizations that got a lot of connections, somewhat power, a lot of pull. You know, they're from the baby boomers generation. So they are the ones helping to create this dysfunction when it comes to tangibles amongst Black Americans that's going on now. And we got to Gen X and younger, we have to keep remembering that. Where did the Pan-African movement, when did it tick up? Who are they, right? And why? Because at one point, before we really started talking about reparations, and that's like when the ADOS hashtag organization came on the scene, that's when Gen X and the younger generations, we started talking about reparations heavy. It was the Pan-Africans that was pushing back. So I get it. It's like, okay, we know, I don't want to call them the enemy, but they are the ones making it very difficult for us to really get any type of genuine tangibles, any type of restitution or reparations. They're the ones that's standing in our way. So I just want to say that. I'm gonna go to Duncan, then I'm gonna swing back to you, Michael. Oh, and then we're closing out at midnight too, Peter, right?
Hey, Dana, what about me? Because I want to address something real quick.
Yeah, all right. So
Yeah, midnight.
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 Okay. So if anybody want a request to come up, do so now between now and 11:45 or midnight. I'm gonna go to Duncan and I'm gonna swing to you, the Negro, and then Michael. Go ahead, Duncan.
Oh, good evening, Dana.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now I'm glad you was hitting on all cylinders, especially talking about how our generation has rejuvenated and galvanized specifically around reparations, and a lot of people for some odd reason, they forget. And I'm not throwing you in the pot of anything because you don't, you speaking on your own just like I'm speaking on my own. But I must say this: a lot of people are having amnesia, as if Melanoid Nation was not a Pan African type of ideal. I think Tariq even had a Nigerian sidekick. All of a sudden, people have amnesia about that, right? The whole delineation and reparations is ADOS. I personally believe, because I heard Jason Black say this on his other show. He said we should speak so boldly about reparations. Well, I don't know no other way to speak about what you want to say. The guy don't show his face or nothing like that, so I don't take him to speak boldly about anything if he can't put a face to his words. And I'm not shitting on him. The man is very intelligent. All these brothers are intelligent, and we need people that intelligence around. I just disagree with them adamantly. That we should be bold about reparations, speak boldly on it, and stand on it. They were all pushing this Pan African thing until ADOS came around, and then they grifted towards that, acted like they was with it, and then tried to destroy our movement. As they kept on, they were bickering before ADOS, and they tried to destroy ADOS. But now my thing about, I didn't mean to go off on that point, but that's what I said, and I meant that. I'm speaking for myself on that. But I can't speak for no one else. But the thing about reparations, I think it's a good time to mention that right now. Now Juneteenth being a holiday, that's a beautiful thing. But me knowing this government, I know this government never meant us anything well. They never meant anything well towards us. So I know it's a hook attached to that, right? But we're seeing now that the United States might get attacked from terrorist cells on our soil because of the Iran thing and the Israel thing going on right now. And why are we doing that? Why are we fighting this Israeli conflict right now? Israel is a result of the Ashkenaz getting reparations after the German Holocaust. So you tell me that 9/11, all this is because of America being over there fighting for them people reparations, what happened in Germany. Their political meddling in the Middle East, right? So not only is it expensive because it has cost us so much American blood, right? From D-Day and you know people going over there to fight to free the Jews, right? Now I don't have nothing against Jews, but I'm just calling it like it is. And I'm not a fan of the Arabs either. But the thing is, why Germany ain't over there um financing? Why Germany ain't sending bunker bombs and all that shit to them? Germany did the Holocaust. They need to be responsible for for the upkeep of Israel, not America. But see, they don't want to pay us our reparations. But they got all this. They'll go to war to protect the reparation for the Ashkenaz, right? They'll go to war, drop bombs. They'll get the World Trade Center blowed up. They'll get the Pentagon blowed up. They'll get all these terrorist cells coming and attack us in America. All that to protect the reparations of the Ashkenaz who didn't have nothing to do with the United States, right? That happened in Germany. But we can't get ours over here. So yeah, these people are con artists and they're dedicated and committed to undermining the legitimate grievance of reparations, which was promised in Special Field Order 15, after the Civil War, and which is the foundation of the Republican Party, by the way.
Okay.
And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. The Negro, because I know you gotta go. The Negro. Then I'm gonna go to Carrie and Michael.
Yeah, thank you. I want to be really brief. When people use this term freedmen or whatever, whatnot, I look at it as a form of inter-ethnic racial erasure, right? And hostility towards Negro as a form of being a Negrophobia. And one of the things that I've noticed, that I observed, that I put down in your purple pill, is talking about this Native American philanthropy. And this is what they've stated. This Juneteenth, we urge you to learn more about the history of freedmen, Black natives, and Afro-Indigenous relatives. So they skip over Negro, they skip over Black American people. That is the root of this holiday, right? And they go right to I would say, the exotic admixtures of the lineage-based collective community, which never was built upon. And this is why, like, the term freedmen and all these other little things that people have made I feel, has done us a disservice, because it's not true to history. It's not true to what happened to our community. And it's very sad, right? It's very crazy. And when people talk about they don't want to see other groups, instinctively, when they use the term freedmen, they are letting in other groups. As you can see, what's up in the Jumbotron or in the purple pill. So I find it very kind of asinine when I hear these individuals talking this freedmen nonsense without any historical relevance or even understanding the damages that they're doing. They're just erasing ourselves off the face of this planet and giving
Dana, may
our
I
justice.
respond to him?
Wait, ma'am.
Yes.
I
As
didn't
soon as he
interrupt you.
finishes, you give rebuttal. Yes.
Ma'am, I don't even want to talk to you about it, because, like, the proof is in the pudding. Either you're going to cite your sources or shut up, like, with this Friedman nonsense stuff. Like, for real, because you're really killing our people. And you're giving our justice claim to Native Americans over the people who were really trafficked and human trafficked here to the United States against their will and not by choice. And that's so sad and so sick. It's probably rooted in colorism anyways. So why do I have to care what a woman has to say who don't even want to acknowledge real history? My God. Thank you, Dana, for allowing me to speak. Y'all look at the evidence yourself and judge it
Well,
yourself.
let's wait a
Instead
minute.
of
She has to
hey,
rebuttal. Let her
yo,
rebuttal from what you said.
I'm not even done yet.
Oh, I thought you.
And I was gonna close
Okay.
out. One thing I regret in my book, Delineationology, I had this term called pretending Negroism, pretending Negroins, talking about how indigenous people cosplay Negro Black American people with the intentions of undermining our justice claim so they can go after their justice claims here in the United States. That's the one chapter I wish I put in and I had enough time to, because I talk about it on the app. I have other spaces that talk about these things and define this criminal behavior. that these people are doing with the intentions of destroying the human rights and justice claim of Negro people, just so they can step on the back on the Negro, no different from the white man. Like, these people are disgusting every time they see freedmen instead of saying Negroes, which were the people that are oppressed. I could at least rock with black because I know that's the modern day, but this freedman nonsense, man, that needs to be in the way of the birds. And it's no different from ADOS. It's no different from FBA, and no different from anything that people have made to change up and to distort real history.
All right, go ahead, Swamy.
Oh my God. The dramatic, spare me, please. Oh my God. Anyway, you all, we all know the term freedman is documented on government websites. Freedman is documented in plenty of articles as well. So this dramatic from the Negro, he's just, you all just being dramatic, okay?
I'm being dramatic, woman. It has Native American to it.
Let her speak.
No, you're not. So literally, we know that the native tribes also had slaves, right? Freedman is a status that also extends to those that were formerly enslaved by the tribes. It's a status. It's going from slavery to freedmen. And it is documented via our federal government. So I don't know what the Negro talking about, because race is black, Negro, colored, but race is not freedmen. It's a status. And it aligns with the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments for a certain ethnic group of people in America. And we are amalgamated. We are an admixture of the native tribes, African tribes, and European nationalities, right? That's it. We're a new humankind made on the soil and made in America, and we are what make America great. So I don't know what the Negro got going on. I'll land.
Can I respond to her? And I'll be really brief. The thing is the proof is in the pudding is that these Native American tribes underneath the Indian New Deal, because I know you don't read historical documentation, they consider themselves freedmen. They were listed in there. When it comes to Special Order 15, it specifically said Negro. When you have people such as yourself that spin this revisionist history, you're no different from a white supremacist who engages in revisionist and negationism when it comes to correct history. And
Hold
that's
on,
the
brother.
problem.
Can two things
Hey,
be true at the same
no,
time?
no, no,
Can
no.
two things be
Wait.
true at the
Wait,
same
hold on,
Can you
time?
Power.
please wait,
Just sit down for a second, Power.
Power. Put your skirt down. Put your skirt down, young man. You're showing your panties. So back to what I was saying here, because it seemed like everybody's in their emotional feelings about a term that only lasted for 15, where Negroes had over 200 plus years. You guys have so much love and attachment to a word that doesn't carry any weight in society. But I'll digress. You're going to say that the Negro's wrong and the Negro's this. But I actually presented facts and scholarship that you can actually look on your own on LinkedIn, that you can see with your own two eyes. What did she present besides lip service and disrespect?
I
And
have
this is
things
how
in the
they,
purple
You
hey,
just
hey,
pill.
trying
hey,
to
hey,
you
hey,
just
hey,
trying to show her you
hey, hey,
smarter than
hey,
her. That's
hey,
all it is.
hey,
A
hey, hey,
fucking
hey, hey,
Wait,
hey,
so one
wait,
second, one
it
second.
seemed like,
The
no, it
Negro.
seemed like
I,
everybody doesn't have no
yeah, but I know
self-control
Power
here.
wants to rebuttal. So Power, you have
I don't care what Power
30
has to
30
say. He's just
seconds,
like that
and
woman. It's
then I need to
worthless.
move on to the next new speaker.
Like if they're gonna present some
He wants to
scholarship, then I
he
will
wants to
respect
put
it.
on
No,
a
but it's
show in
like,
your
but
space
I do
tonight,
give
Dana.
people a
That's
chance
all. He
to.
has to show and
Right, I
perform.
do give people a
No,
chance to
it's just that you have
rebuttal.
a lack of no scholarship and you just attack
I
somebody
have
and you
I
don't
have
stand on
scholarship in
anything.
the
You have no
purple
Wait, hold on.
pill.
credibility.
Nobody
I have
didn't attack
scholarship in the
anybody,
purple pill.
Negro. So Power, did you want to
Yeah.
rebuttal to the Negro?
No, I didn't even get to finish. You
Yeah,
might
I
just
do.
give it to this clown.
No, the Negro, we respect you, brother. You Gucci, man. But
No,
just
you know you
relax a little
don't. No,
bit.
you don't. No, you don't. No, you
Yo,
don't.
homie,
I
I
don't
never
respect the black
He
man.
just he
disrespect you.
just
So
he just want to prove that he the smartest nigga instead of working together. We don't want to hear that, man. Work
I'm
together.
No,
saying,
I'm
Figure
not
out a
homie,
going
you
way
to
to
on
work
work with. I'm
cold
together.
not
right
going to
now.
work with
That's all
phonies
cold.
and fakesters. I'm not going to work with phonies and fakesters. You're right.
Well,
You're right. You're
look,
a
at
bunch
the
of
end of the
phonies
day,
and
homie,
fakesters.
you told me to pull my skirt down, but look, being a man is about letting men
You
speak, man. All I'm
interrupted
saying
me
is
and
two
disrespected
things
me
can
on
be.
my turn.
I'm not
Ain't no
disrespecting
two
you,
things to
man.
be. Yeah, but the two things ain't going to work, homie. It's either Negro way or the highway.
Oh, it's your way or the highway?
No, I said Negro way or
Well,
the
I don't
highway.
consider
I didn't say
myself a
my way.
Negro, so
Well, you might
I
not be
guess
a
it's a
Negro.
highway for me.
So all I'm saying is like two things can be true at the same time. Now there is documented proof that freedmen is valid in the Congress. So why would you say that? Hey, she shouldn't hang on to that. Why would you say that?
Great question. When it opens up the door, what you see in the purple pill, this is a Native American tribe claiming freedmen. And during Juneteenth Day, they want to talk about their treaties instead of talking about the plight of Negro people who were emancipated. And this is
But
why it's a high.
again,
Wait,
It's
wait,
sir,
hear
just
me out.
another
This
name
again,
is
of a
that's
why
two
it's
black
a
things
person
highway.
in
being true.
America. It's just another name of a black person in America, man. Get over it, man. Come on, let's
Hey,
go.
man, mind your business, you non-tethered little MF you.
You taking forever, man. Land. Hurry up.
No, you just ain't got nothing to stand on but your mouth. But anyway, power. You could see in the Jumbotron, look for yourself. I provided evidence and proof to what I'm talking about. Can you?
Sure, I'm just using basic logic. I can tell you right now that two things can be true at the same time, sir. Are you going to argue against that?
Power is right, so is sway me. And
No,
yes, you
they
can
right
look.
because they
This
say
is the
they
thing.
right.
This is the thing for me. I don't call myself Negro, and nobody else better not call me no damn Negro, black or non-black. But because that comes crazy from someone that's non-black. However, freedmen for me, especially if you're talking about legislation, policies, um, tangibles. Yes, we all could go and pull facts of freedmen that legitimizes tangibles when it comes to specifically Black Americans, or like you like to call yourself, Negroes. So that, yes, that is all factually documented when we talk about the freedmen bureaus and just freedmen history. Let me go to Carrie and Ben, yeah, then Ben, and then I'll come back to the
But you see
hands.
the end result of using Friedman, Dana. You see it. You see it.
No, I
So
don't
we're gonna
see
just
no
know
end result.
reality.
I do see
The end
people that
result
are
is Native
fighting.
Americans are
I do
co-opting it.
see people. No, I do see people that are pushing for some type of tangible legislation under the Freeman name, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let me go to Carrie, Ben, then
All
Power.
right, you guys have a nice night, man. Peace out, man.
All right. I'm gonna go to Carrie, Ben, and Power, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Michael, and then Duncan. And guys, we're only gonna be up here what we say midnight. So if you want to request to come up, please do so. Go ahead, Carrie.
Okay, cool. Hey, oh, Negro, come on, Negro. Don't get off the space. That's
Now
sad.
you see
I
why I
was,
don't like to be called Negro, because it sounds different when it comes from somebody white. You know
it's
what I'm talking
It,
because
it
about?
does
I
sound
have
crazy. It
problems with
does
my
sound
teeth.
crazy.
Baby, I had major surgery done on my teeth. I sound funny. And I apologized the other night, Dana and Peter, for cussing like that. I never do that, but I was hurting so bad from my teeth. I didn't mean it, but I didn't say the F word. But Dana, you corrected me and said, Carrie, why do you talk like that? And you're right. I apologize to everyone and to y'all. I'm so sorry for cussing like that. That's not me, okay? But getting back to what is being said, I'm so glad I'm on here because I got married on Juneteenth with my first husband of 25 years. And nothing, nothing bad. He just wanted to remember that date. And I don't understand it because he was a lot older than I. But after learning more about the history of Juneteenth myself by looking into it, and also what the Negro said, which I wanted to talk to him about. Um, Back in the day, that's what they used to call people, was Negroes. And that was like really old. People would say Negro. No pun intended at all in that. And like I said before, I never knew what Juneteenth really meant, honestly, because I'm terrible in history. But I I think it's a good day. I really believe it's a good day for the black people. I
What's so
mean,
good about it? What's so good about it though? Being a white woman, what's so good about it?
isn't it because you're liberated and you're free on Juneteenth? Is
No,
it?
do you understand the significance of Juneteenth? What's the significance to
Well,
you
how you
with
gonna be
Juneteenth?
mad, Power? What she said is right.
I'm not
That's
mad.
what it
I'm not
means,
mad.
Power.
I'm just asking her. I'm not mad. I'm just
I
asking her.
mean, I don't want to
I don't
be
mean that you mad, but you're serious.
disrespectful. I mean, at all towards the black community, and I love, black people, and I love all kinds. But I'm sorry, I don't know all the history involved. I'm terrible with history.
So you don't know the significance of Juneteenth? Do you know it or
I
not?
just told you what I thought with Juneteenth. You all got liberated, and you were no longer a part of slavery.
That is not the significance of it,
I
miss.
thought it was, Power.
No, it's
No,
taken.
no.
It's the 2 years it took to get to Galveston to let them know that they were already free. As far as I'm
But
concerned,
that's
when
what
it
it
comes
means,
to
being
Juneteenth.
liberated.
That part.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
no, the
sorry. I'm not
But
significance
being.
is
we fought, Dana.
I'm
We fought
not
for our
being.
own. We fought to save the union, so we still,
But the
did.
war was already over. But the thing is, the people people in Texas didn't know that okay, they were officially free, the slaves. But people, let's just say in North Carolina or Virginia, they knew. But by the time it got to Texas 2 years later, and then technically Texas wasn't the last state where the slaves knew they were free, because Kentucky didn't. Those slaves wasn't officially, they didn't walk off the plantation until November of that same year. So
Wow,
it's still
I
that's
mean,
about
think
pretty
about
good,
how
liberation. So you
Dana.
crazy.
can't,
Think about
I'm just saying.
That's excellent. That's
think
really
about how
excellent.
crazy that is, right? Imagine you were locked up, right? Imagine you were doing your sentence, and they held you an extra 2 years. You
Yeah,
lost 2 extra years of your life. And so that's what the holiday actually signifies is super significant, that it took that long for the message to reach them. And think about being free or being
Yeah,
not
Carrie
free.
was
It's
not
huge.
wrong
I'm,
in her realization of what
and I'm
Juneteenth
not
is. She was
finished,
not wrong.
baby.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm not finished with what I have to say. I do not mean any disrespect at all. I'm a horrible. I mean, I'm bad with history. Okay, I have to look at my mother when I ask about history. But being brought up in Pennsylvania, and then uh, and then moving to, and I'm a lot older than y'all. I was I graduated in 79, okay? So, you could do the math. But anyway.
yo. So boom. So the significance is that dudes didn't know they were free, and they got pimped out for extra years and years. Feel me? So that's what makes Juneteenth what it is. So we can't have Caribbeans or Africans or anybody trying to jump in on this bandwagon because it's specifically for us. You know what I'm saying? That's
I
the
know what you're
significance
saying,
of
baby.
Juneteenth.
But what
It's definitely for y'all.
I'm saying is no disrespect, okay? I don't believe there should be slavery in any ethnic group, okay? It's bullshit crap. I really believe that. And I was naive.
And that's all good. And here's the thing I have about people outside of the culture is that they all want to stage to get on, like the Africans, they want to explain their whole story and all that extra shit. It's time out for that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like,
Power,
I
can I
know
ask you
what
something?
you're
Can I ask you
saying, and
something,
I don't
Power?
want that.
Can I ask you
I don't want that. I
can,
don't want that. I
let,
don't
me,
expect for your
let me ask you something,
empathy.
Power, real
All right,
quick.
Perry, let
Wait,
Michael respond.
Uh,
yeah, let
Let me
Michael respond. Then I gotta go to Ben Ben.
So let me ask you something. The same slaves that got shipped to Jamaica and shipped to Haiti and the Caribbean, a lot of them slaves got shipped to America too, right? So if we celebrating this day, right? At the end of the day, this is the day to when the last slave was freed from all of the bullshit, my nigga.
That's
Me,
not accurate, Michael.
but
That's
kind
not
of right,
accurate.
because
That's not accurate. You know
I mean,
why? No,
kind
no,
of though.
no, no. Listen. The reason why that's not accurate because um 1863, 1865,
Right.
all the black people in America, the 13 colonies were free. There were still slaves in Brazil. There was still slavery going on in other Caribbean islands. I believe Cuba as well. How and then
After
also
1863.
yes.
Okay,
Brazil, they didn't end slavery until 1885. So with that said,
we need to have that date then too.
with that said, please don't sit up here and say, well, we were dropped off in Haiti, we were dropped off in Jamaica, and then people from the Caribbean ended up being shipped to America. That cutoff point that ended in the 1700s because
But
the
still,
difference. Let me
was some
finish.
though.
Let me finish. Because the difference with slavery in America, United States of America, is chattel. Only 5% of the imported slaves ended up here on this land. So how did you go from that small percentage, let's just say, to 20% of
Only
the population? Stop. Let me finish. How do you go from 5% of imported slaves on this land and end up being 20 or 30% of the population? That was through chattel. And that's the difference between slavery here than anywhere else throughout the quote unquote diaspora, because they did not have chattel slavery. So it's a cutoff point to where, no, my lineage is not Jamaica, it's not Cuba,
it's
it's
not.
not Brazil. It's not Brazil. It's none of that, because it got completely cut off. And you do have to include the natives that were here, that were enslaved and enslaving, but it's the chattel slavery. And if you don't know what chattel slavery is, then go read up on that. So it's
I
a
know what it is,
cutoff
but
point.
let me say this real quick. Me, I would be appalled that people want to celebrate a day with me. Like St. Patrick's Day, they not knocking nobody. Yo, celebrate that shit. Cinco Mile Day, celebrate it with them. They not saying y'all can't celebrate it. I would be appalled if somebody want to celebrate uh, my day. That's like my birthday. I'm gonna be happy that you coming to celebrate with me. Stop putting too much emphasis on that shit and just do you that day. That's all I mean. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So let me go to Ben. Where's the list? Ben, then Power, and then I gotta swing the Duncan, then Sassy, and then Cheryl. And then I'll come back to you, Sway Me and Carrie. Go ahead, Ben.
Let me just say, we as Black Americans should not mind who celebrates Juneteenth. It should be celebrated by humanity. It was a great day. The last slaves on the continental United States were released from chattel slavery. That's a great day for humanity. And so, it's just a great day. And so we should be proud of that celebration. And Juneteenth is also an indicator that reparations should be paid because slavery was a crime against humanity, fully carried out with the complicity of the United States. So, therefore, reparations should be paid. Donald Trump, President Trump, respectfully, if he is avoiding acknowledging Juneteenth, it is a mistake. He cannot be that religious or into the Bible to not acknowledge Juneteenth because in the Bible, Exodus chapter 12, verses number 34 through 36, before the Hebrews left Egypt, they they asked for reparations and they received reparations from the Egyptians. According to the scriptures, the Hebrews plundered the Egyptians, God moved their heart to give them silver and gold and clothes. And so reparations is a principle that is laid down in the Bible. Mr. Trump should be fully aware of this. This is not something that we are pulling out of the thin air. It is in the Judeo Christian ethic. If a person is going to be held as slaves in bondage, then those people should receive reparations. Happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thank you, Bim Bim. Power. I know you rebutted with the
Yeah,
Negroes. I don't know if but that you were in this order. So did you want to say anything?
yeah, I can say something. I would just salute all my peoples out here. Appreciate yourself. Um, May God bless you. Cops should not arrest or stress you. You heard? It's all Gucci, man. And I'm gonna just let y'all know this. This vibration is really going deeper than you would ever imagine. People are in code out here. Our people are in code out here. So I'm just happy, man. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm a line right there. Okay. Salute to all of y'all.
Okay. Um, Sassy. Sassy.
Yeah, here I am. I'm sorry. Okay. Um, Shout out to the room. Peace and to the room. Happy Juneteenth. Okay. I am getting in here a little late. I was on with Lloyd. Um, so here's the thing. And this is what we're fighting for. In my opinion, in my view, and I know it's fact, Juneteenth helps our case in our fight for reparations. Okay? Because we were celebrating it. It just recently became a major holiday. And we were celebrating it even before it became a major holiday, right? So, 2 years, they were still slaves and in Galveston. And I got the story, I got some of it up in the Jumbotron. It helps our debate. It really does. And it's not hype. It's an official holiday on American soil. The slaves, our ancestors that were slaves, the crimes against humanity. And it's unfortunate that we have not been, the descendants of slaves have not become, right? We know our American government is stubborn because they allowed Jim Crow for 100 years. And then even with slavery. So I don't have much, what I'm sharing is important, and I'm sure you all have already captured what we're saying here. But it's a good thing that we are celebrating Juneteenth and our heritage and our lineage and the 5 questions and our purpose in that we are the crutch of America. We are what makes America turn, and we survived it. I hear Lloyd saying all the time, we survived. Our ancestors survived. They had a will, they had a purpose. And the word just didn't get out, probably because we didn't have the internet back then. We didn't have Twitter. If we had Twitter back then, they'd have got out. They'd have said, we's free. Yes. So that's all I wanted to say. It is an official holiday, and it's imprinted in America. And with that, I land. And y'all just have to accept it. Okay. Those of you that are not of the, you just have to accept what your ancestors did to our ancestors. Okay. Yes. And I land. Go ahead.
Just real quick, Sassy. I didn't realize until you said it. You're absolutely right. Jim Crow lasted 100 years, a minimum.
Yeah.
I think nobody didn't, because you know what? When we think of Jim Crow, we thinking of the 50s and the 40s, and that's it. But 100 years, yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
So
And, so we've been fighting. We've been fighting. And so we're going to keep fighting. And those of you that want to join our fight, you join our fight. if and those other Caribbeans, Africans, as long as if they want to join us in this fight. But don't be talking about no sugar and all that Caribbean stuff. You can jump on this bandwagon and help us fight. But all that other stuff, no. You've got to trace your lineage
Right.
back to 1865. And thank you for allowing me to speak. Hey, Dana, how's Joe Brown? How's Judge Joe?
He's
Where is he?
good. He's on vacation.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
thank you. Cheryl, then Mississippi, and then I'm gonna swing back to Swamy and Carrie. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, Dana. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I've been listening a lot, especially all this month about Juneteenth. But can I skip to the reparations real quick?
Of course.
It did not come back. Okay, reparations. Okay. If you were enslaved here in America, you should get reparations from the United States government. If you were enslaved in the Caribbean, you should get reparations from the British government. And same with Haiti, they should get reparations from the French government. Am I correct with that, French?
Yes.
So that cuts that out. Juneteenth, it was for American slavery. When we were free, we were emancipated. Now, as for the Caribbean, when they were free, get your own damn holiday. Call it Caribbean Teenth, another month or whatever. Celebrate it all you want. If you're Haiti, call it Haitian teeth. I don't care. And so on and so on and so on. Get your own. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Just get your own. I don't know if that breaks it down to you more easier, but Juneteenth is based upon slavery here in America, nowhere else. And yes, they did have slaves in Jamaica, but get your fellow Jamaicans and fight for your own holiday. That's all.
Thank you, Cheryl. All right, Mississippi.
Hey, everybody on the stage. No, I was just coming in. I read the question and I was listening a bit. Um, okay, so Juneteenth and the reparations debate, holiday or hype. Well, I'm gonna be short with it, really. Um, Juneteenth was basically a celebration that began in Galveston, Texas, in 1865 after they found out they were free in Galveston, Texas. And we have to realize it was Texas specific to the enslaved blacks and their direct descendants in Galveston, Texas, and no one else. Juneteenth later on expanded to Houston. That was in 1866. And that was the year after they had the first celebration in Galveston. And then after 1872, when they created Emancipation Park after they bought that land, it expanded out into Texas in general to different cities because the people was moving around and moving in and settling throughout Texas, Black Americans. Um, what they done tried to make Juneteenth into now seems to be more or less, yes, a federal holiday, federal recognition, but they seem to be making it more or less something to economically benefit people who were not descendants of those Galveston slaves who were freed in Galveston, Texas in 1865. They've expanded this out to include everybody else, every other group, everybody who's outside of those lineages who were enslaved in Galveston, and just brought it in to make it a holiday for everyone, to make it where it's inclusive. And that's a problem because certain things like a birthday or like a family heritage celebration, they're not supposed to be for people who are outside or non-family members. They were specific to that family and those people in particular. I would say the only legitimate, group who really
really should be recognizing Juneteenth, honestly, is the people who was from Galveston, the people who were descendants of those enslaved people in Galveston, and their descendants, and so forth. I don't
But then
believe.
it wouldn't be a national
Well, I'm
holiday.
not talking
Let
to
him
you.
finish. Stop.
Mind your Jamaican business.
Let him finish.
Um, but it shouldn't be for just anyone to come in and to co-opt something that was specific to those people. Like one of the hosts or one of the people on the stage earlier said that even in 1865, everybody wasn't free. And even when they signed the Emancipation Proclamation, that wasn't a direct end to slavery. Only came through the 13th Amendment. When they signed that 13th Amendment, it abolished slavery, federally. But what people fail to realize is that it abolished it to a certain extent, but it didn't really abolish it because it made the term saying all slavery is abolished except as a punishment for crime, which has been the subject of debate and scrutiny. Now, when you think about crime, that was right around the time Jim Crow began, and they started criminalizing black Americans all over the country for almost anything. Any little minor infraction, any little thing, walking on the same sidewalk with a white person, looking at a white woman, talking too loud in public, just anything, and they began to criminalize them in droves, and they were able to re-enslave them. So, yeah, it ended on paper, and people celebrate it as the official end of slavery on paper, but true black Americans, especially from the South, know it didn't end in 1865. It didn't end in 1866, 72. It didn't end in 1950. They still had peonage slavery all the way up until the 1980s. And the state of Mississippi, honestly, our state just abolished slavery in 2013. That's February 7th, 2013. They just officially abolished slavery February 7th, 2013. So for us, it's like, I guess we could make that our holiday as Black Americans in Mississippi. But for the people in Texas, I guess that was the official end of their slavery. But remember, they really didn't end it. The 13th Amendment didn't really end it either, because it said if you committed a crime or you accused of committing a crime, it basically gave them a loophole to legally re-enslave you. And then you look at it from this point of view, we still got the school to prison pipelines because of that. We got all of these things where they get our people put into slavery, legal slavery, where they got our prisoners working to build license plates. They working for pennies. So they can't legally call it slavery because they getting paid something, but at the same time it's still slavery because they're using them literally to fill these positions. They make the cups at Starbucks, they make the cups at McDonald's, they make a whole lot of things today. And it's a legal form of slavery. So that loophole was put in there specifically to give the country a way to continue slavery while claiming that it was officially abolished. But in reality, for Black Americans, it was never abolished. And that's one reason I believe they won't, or they're resisting to give us our reparations as a whole. In these different people who literally descend from people who were enslaved before 1865, is because slavery is still ongoing. It never ended. It just changed forms. It shifted. And they're not done. In other words, they're still enslaving your people. Your people are still enslaved. That's why they're not giving you reparations on as a whole, federally, state, or otherwise. I would say that a lot of our people who were enslaved by name, since they can trace their lineage back, I believe those are some of the only people who can really, go and file for reparations. Because let's face it, before 1865, every Black American wasn't a slave at that time. Some of them were free Negroes, some were manumitted Negroes. You had all kinds of people, and everybody wasn't a slave at that time. Some people were, some people wasn't. But it comes up to a point where you like, okay, so if some people were running around free Negroes, who really qualifies for reparations? and then it breaks off into a whole lot of things. But I don't want to really get too deep into that because that's for the people who are out here trying to get their reparations. I know my family, we're gonna get ours because we know the plantation that used to own a few of our people, and those plantations are still making money using those plantations as tourist attractions, where they're showing the old slave cabins and they're showing all of the old tools and the things they used to use.
Where is this at?
Oh, we're in Mississippi. That's the Annandale plantation. They done turned a lot of it into golf courses out there. That's one of them. It's other one's the Nita Yuma. Um, they done turned a lot of these places into tourist attraction. And then they turned the one over in Annandale. They turned that into like a golf resort for the white folk over there because it's a way for them to preserve it. But at the same time, they preserving it. They're also still making money. They're making a profit from it. We had land taken, and then they don't just owe you cash reparation; they owe you land reparation. They owe you land restitution for titles and everything else because they took some of my ancestral land when they built Highway 49. They built Highway 49 right through a lot of Black Americans' land, and they took a lot of our land through eminent domain.
Right. Somebody, Phil J in my YouTube chat says Mississippi officially ratified the 13th Amendment in the year 2013. Yeah, that's
Correct.
kind of crazy. So,
Correct. So that's when
and
slavery
then
officially ended.
and one more thing, Mississippi, didn't they just announce no state tax because they want people to move into the state?
Yeah, they did.
I think this is a great opportunity for Black people to relocate to, Mississippi, pick a certain city and start building a strong community politically, economically, culturally, and statewide start pushing for restitution and reparations in Mississippi. Because I always say with reparations, yes, the federal government should, pass something, write a check, but it really is going to have to start locally on a state level. Sometimes it could start federal and then push down to the states, but I think it needs to be simultaneously. But I say all that to say, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that about Mississippi. I think because Mississippi is inexpensive and there's no more state tax, and they did that to attract more people to come in. And I'm just saying to Black, especially young Black Americans, you know we need to start organizing, getting together and creating our communities and take advantage of buying up land and taxes and politics and stuff like that. So it's just a suggestion. Yeah. All
They
right.
should probably add a sports team or something there.
They have sports teams in Mississippi. Okay, Michael.
Nah, like a NFL,
Well, they have
NBA,
basketball.
Do they
They do
have a?
MLB
I have
they
a
team.
have
question for
basketball.
Michael. Do they have a sports team in Jamaica? Do they have an NFL in Jamaica? Do they
They
have
got a
a?
soccer team.
No, they do.
They got a
We
soccer
don't
team
play
at
soccer
least.
in America. Do they have an
It don't matter.
NFL in Jamaica?
It
Do
don't
they have an
matter. They got a
NBA
soccer
team
team.
in Jamaica?
They
Do they
got a
have an
soccer
official
team.
baseball team in Jamaica?
They got
Your
a
answer to
international
that is
soccer
no
team at
because they
least.
don't have
Mississippi
all
don't even
that.
have a
So
soccer team,
why are
bro.
you speaking to
So
me right
like,
now? I don't talk to
you
midgets.
the
Why are
one.
you
You the
speaking
one.
to
I ain't
me?
saying nothing to you.
But
You
you
said.
talking
Listen, I
to
said they
me,
should
yeah, you
add an
talking to me
NFL
now and
team
you speaking on
or
Mississippi.
MLB
We
team
told you.
or
I ran you
NBA
down
team and
before.
bring
Hey,
people there.
don't speak
I'm trying
on
to bring. I'm trying to
Mississippi.
help with the
I'm trying
cause,
to
bro.
help you
I'm trying to
to
help with the
find your way
cause.
back to Jamaica.
I'm trying to help with the cause.
I'm
Wait.
trying to
Nobody
help
want to move to
you.
Mississippi, my
I'm
nigga.
trying to help you to
Stop.
find your way back to Jamaica. You need to.
Wait.
Nobody want to move to Mississippi, bro. It's no
Well,
NFL
first of
teams, no
all,
MLB
wait,
teams
hold on.
there.
First of all, I'm encouraging people to move to Mississippi because it's cheaper and there's no state taxes.
Why you?
First of all, I'm tired of paying federal, and I definitely don't want to pay no damn state. And what I'm saying is Mississippi could be very beneficial to Black Americans. And when you start building out your community and you have a strong community, then you could flex a lot of political power. See,
Yeah,
so
Yeah, but
hold
Mississippi
on, Michael.
has income tax, no, Dana?
No, this is me pushing back to you because the first thing come out your mouth, well, what about a sports team? Now you were being, that you were being very sarcastic. and then Mississippi had to check you with some facts because stop. And this is the thing with you tethers. Y'all try to be sarcastic, but you can't be sarcastic where you come from don't have shit. So you can't crack on me when y'all don't even have nothing to begin with. So we got shit to play with over here to start something up.
Yo, we got a soccer team, an international
No,
soccer
your
team in
soccer
Jamaica.
team is shit. Your soccer
Mississippi.
Dana,
team,
don't forget.
yes, no, hold on for a second. Hold
Okay.
on, Michael, because you keep jumping off your mouth. Your soccer team don't win no fucking tournaments. The Concafa or whatever the fuck. It start with a C. Y'all always lose. You don't even go to the quarterfinals. FIFA, half the time y'all don't even qualify to be part of FIFA World Soccer. So stop it. Like the only thing that you could claim is Hussein Bolt. Keep it a buck. That's it. And cricket. Don't nobody fuck with cricket. It's boring, and y'all can have that shit. So stop. So real quick though, let me
Hey, yo, Dana, you crazy, yo.
let me go to
Oh,
ADS.
Dana, real quick, Dana. I just wanted to make a point about Jamaica and everything. Keep in mind or whatever, Jackson, Mississippi, which he always comes and says it's the poorest state in America and all that. But think about this: Jackson, Mississippi alone got a higher GDP than all of Jamaica, and Jamaica's a nation.
And most of it come from the federal
Jamaica's a
government.
nation, and
And most of it come from the federal
most of those
government, not
from
y'all.
remittances from the U.S. government. So it's crazy that you would say
Federal
that.
government. So that means
It's
all the states got to
crazy.
help Mississippi.
Wait,
That
hold
means
on. No, no,
every
no, no,
state got
no.
to
Hold
help
on, hold
Mississippi.
Crazy
on.
that
But the fact is that
I'm from New Jersey,
a
bro.
city
I'm
is
from New
bigger
Jersey.
than
Forget
your
Jamaica.
nation.
You don't want to
You
put
a
New Jersey
bi-ethnic,
against
you a
Mississippi.
bi-ethnic person
I'm telling you right now, you
who
don't
claim
want to
you're
do that because
Jamaican
we win in
rooted.
all
You know we're gonna
categories.
run you down.
All categories we
all
win. New
right, stop.
Jersey,
All right,
man.
Don't get me
all
going.
right, all right. So, well, I got to get to ADS. Go ahead,
Dana, I
ADS.
just have a.
Huh?
Can I make a quick comment about something that was just said? Uh, the a person said that only people in Galveston should be celebrating Juneteenth, and that's not correct. Uh, All people should be celebrating Juneteenth, and we as Black Americans, we are a people group that were formulated upon the shores of the North American continent. So if something happens to one part of the people group, it happens to another part of the people group. It's like the argument that's made in the book of Corinthians, the Apostle Paul, who said, if one part of the body suffers, the other part of the body suffers. If one part of the body rejoices, the other part. We celebrate Juneteenth, although it occurred in Galveston because we are a people group. Then, as a geopolitical people, part of the body politic of the United States of America, we should celebrate Juneteenth because, again, slavery was a crime against humanity. Thank you.
All right.
And I want to say that
Dana, can I
Wait,
respond
hold,
real
hold,
quick?
hold on, hold on. Mississippi, you can respond, and then I need to go to ADS. Go ahead, Mississippi.
Okay. I just wanted to respond to what Ben was just saying. I got a question. I mean, are you descendant from anyone who was enslaved in Galveston, Texas before 1865? Because I feel like if you're not one of those people or their descendants who came from Galveston, Texas, who was enslaved in Galveston, Texas, on those plantations, picking cotton or whatever they was doing in that area of Galveston, then I don't think you should be speaking on them. No, I will not allow people to erase because first of all, I got folk from Texas. My people from Grapevine, Texas, in which became Grape Lynn, Texas later. And I got folks from there too. And I know their heritage, they specific lineage in that area. I won't allow that to be appropriated by somebody trying to throw this blanket on it, calling it a win for humanity. Humanity wasn't on them plantations in Galveston getting whipped, beaten, hanged, and killed and dragged behind horses and bulls. So we not gonna play this game about erasure, because that's what it is. It's a form of ethnic erasure. You trying to erase the lineage and the heritage of those particular people. Yeah, there's a level of appreciation that can be administered and everything, but when it gets to the point where you just saying, well, it's not just their struggle, it's everyone's struggle, it was everybody's history. That's no different than when people come here from Africa and just say that we're all black, and they erase your specific distinction, your ethnicity, your specific lineage, and your specific history and story. Those people in Galveston had a very specific story, very specific lineage, and they went through very specific struggles that were specific to them in Texas. And it wasn't for everybody. It then began for everybody. It was originally and first celebrated by the people in Galveston, Texas, specifically
So
by
why
the
make it a
people who were
national
freed
holiday
in
then? Why
1060.
make it a
Michael, wait,
national
just wait.
holiday?
Michael, mute
I'm
up.
not
Michael,
talking
you
Can
have to
to you.
mute
can I
up.
jump in there
You
now?
have to mute
Since
up.
See,
I
he was addressing it to me. Can so
I'm
he
addressing
asked me a
Benjamin.
question.
Yeah,
If
and
you
Dana,
address
I think
Benjamin,
y'all
don't
had forgot
address
about me.
me.
I had my
He
hand
he
raised.
No,
he asked me
I
a
see.
question.
Oh,
So can I
wait,
answer it real?
hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me just reset some stuff. I see your hand up, Duncan. I have to get the ADS, and then I'm gonna swing back to you. Now, Ben, yeah, you can respond 30 seconds. Because I do let people respond or rebuttal when it's after somebody speaks, when it's their time. So, go ahead, Ben. You can
Yes, that is myopic. It is nearsighted, that argument. And let me tell you why. Martin Luther King didn't just fight for black people in Georgia or black people in Alabama. He fought for all of us who were experiencing Jim Crow. Yes, I am a descendant of American chattel slavery and Jim Crow. And so just because a person did it in our people group, and we are a people group that were formulated on the shores of the United States of America, if one thing happens to our people group in one area, then it benefits or hurt all of the people group. We cannot be so myopic. We cannot be, because that is very detrimental. Black Americans, the descendants of American chattel slavery, are one people group. I have landed.
All right, so let me say this.
With
Hold
one
on, hold on.
ethnicity, not
So
a
hold
people
on.
group.
Let me say this, because I think I'm pretty diplomatic. So I didn't know when Mississippi, when he, kind of broke it down to the history specifically of Galveston. Mind everybody, Juneteenth was celebrated only in Texas, specifically in Galveston. That is their holidays. Nobody else's holiday. It was made a federal holiday to recognize the complete ending of slaves, like the last state to know that they were free to slaves. So that made it inclusive for, foundational Black Americans, freemen, or what have you, Black Americans. However, what Mississippi was doing is just being race specific with the history of Juneteenth. And I love that, because and that should be known, because it goes to what I was saying in the title, holiday or hype. It was a holiday celebrated in Texas. I grew up, I knew of the word Juneteenth, but I didn't care about what they were doing in Texas because I wasn't from there. And I was like, that's their thing. Then it became national. All right, then it's all of Black American thing. I get it. But part of, I would say this, and I said this way in the beginning of the space, part of having Juneteenth, the positive is that everyone else, Black or whatever background, can learn about that history. And you cannot just bypass or erase or just skip over what Mississippi was saying, because that's part of the true history of Juneteenth. And you have to respect that. And I think we should know that. I think we should know that, because we just know the macro sense of it, but not the micro of the people in Galveston. So I really appreciate him bringing that to the table. But let me go to ADS because he's been waiting. Then I'm going to swing to you, Duncan. And I think Sway Me, did you have your hand up? Are you still up here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But it'll be an open floor
Hey
after
Dane.
that. So go ahead, ADS.
Hey Dana, great space. Peter, a happy Juneteenth to everybody. I had a
Happy
space in
Juneteenth.
June. Hello.
Yeah, I was just wishing it back to you.
Okay, I had a space and I was going to talk about this for whatever reason it got cut off, and so I obviously it was meant for me to come here. I heard some great stuff being said here, so I just wanted to piggyback off of what I heard. I want to say that Mississippi, he's valid in what he's saying, but also Ben is valid in what he's saying as well. But I do want to throw this little history in here to let you all know there wouldn't be no Juneteenth at all had not President Trump put it part of his platinum program, and Biden saw it and made it part of his plan to pander to us. And I'm just going to keep it 100, okay? There would not be no Juneteenth, okay, at all, okay, if it wasn't politics, okay? We got politics got played, okay? Trump had it part of his platinum plan, okay? Biden saw it, and how my wife researched it. I didn't even know this. Trump actually was trying to do something on June 19th, and one of his secret services actually told him, "No, you can't do that on that because that's Juneteenth. That's the celebration done." And so he said, "Oh, I didn't know that," and everything. And so then he got introduced to the woman that actually was putting it all together. And then when Trump was going to run for the second term, he lost. Biden saw it and he made it part of his to pander us. Now I say all that, a good thing. What turned out to be a good thing turned out good in our favor. Okay, because it is true. Galveston, Texas was celebrating Juneteenth way before anybody else was celebrating it. Before anybody was celebrating. But we must understand something. Those 2 years that carried on in Galveston in Texas, the slaves had experienced the very same thing the Galveston had experienced 2 years more. Okay. So to discount the what took place in Gavakin, because they experienced it 2 more years longer than the slaves that were slaves that also experienced the very same amount of persecution, mistreatment, and everything. They're all slaves. Galveston just experienced it a little longer because Texas did not recognize it. So I acknowledge that, thank God, the Galveston um, decided to maintain celebrating the Juneteenth. It's a beautiful thing that they did, but I also celebrate and thank God that we do have the history, the celebration for all of us, but not just us, for all of America. But I don't include immigrants and people. You know, if you're not part of our culture, then you should not be able to celebrate what we call, y'all call reparation, I'll call inheritance. Our inheritance is based on our birthrights, birthplace, and our inheritance or reparation of those people who came from chattel slavery. Period. That's what the celebration is all about. And I just wanted to land that and say two things can be right at the same time. I've been in these spaces and I see people get at it, and I wish we will not fight with one another. Okay, we're all seeking the same thing, and we all should be excited that we do have this holiday and excited for it. But let's don't fight against one another. And I land there.
Yeah, well said. And then too, right, Ben and Mississippi. Listen, they're both were right. You know, both make great points. I'm just saying when Mississippi and when he brought up that Houston, the slaves, let's just say, were free in 1883, but in that same state, you go over to another county or city, Galveston, they were still enslaved. Like that's not fascinating, but that's just it's crazy. But that's when you look at the operation of slavery in society during that time. It what you were that goes to you were not considered a human being. You were a product, a commodity. Because you were the reason that
And everything existed, right?
yeah, to gain riches, to gain wealth, to gain power, to gain money for to create an army, to be the United States. You have to cultivate that land. it costs money to stimulate the economy, and that's what they were literally commodity and not considered human. So great
Hey,
points that everybody is
hey,
bringing to the
Dana, can
table.
I add this one more thing? Since Joe Brown was on your thing, and I was there when he said this, and I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I got to. It was talked about on thing. I totally disagreed how Joe Brown called the Galveston slaves stupid or ignorant or stupid. No, he used the word stupid because they did not free themselves when the Union slaves showed up and everything, and they had to wait a whole nother year for the other the other white unions. And here's my reply to that: it makes sense that they did not trust the Union black. All they known was slavery. Why would they just automatically just say, "Oh, they here to free us from that"? They wasn't stupid. Okay, I think it's insulting to say that they were stupid.
They
No,
were stupid and they
no,
were scared.
no, they were ignorant. Okay, stupid. They were ignorant because they only knew what they knew. I think it's sometimes we got to be a little bit more, have some empathy, okay, for our people. They only knew what they knew. Okay, they needed something a little bit more substantial to show before they put themselves on the line with their masters and things. Think about it. All they knew was slavery.
So
All they knew.
basically, ADS, because what the judge also, he said in several different shows, he also said that there were the black cavalry of the Union soldiers that would tell the slaves, "Hey, you're free." They didn't want to
Right,
listen to the black soldiers. They took the
right,
white man. So
right.
that goes, and they were ignorant.
They
They were ignorant. They
they were
were
ignorant.
ignorant if you did not want to listen to the black Union soldiers telling you the same thing that a white
That's
soldier is
not
telling you,
ignorance,
but you
that's
believe the
stupidity.
white
No,
over the
no,
black. There's a
they
lot
were
of
ignorant.
psychology damage, psychological
Right,
damage.
and they were in there. So when
So
you
you
if you
can't
have,
be listen, you can't, but so you're pushing back against the judge, and you have every right to. It's not,
that's
but
all I'm doing. Yeah,
that's where he's coming from, the
right.
psychology, like come on, we have to be mentally stronger than that. But go ahead and land. So I gotta get to Duncan, then I'm gonna come to you, Prevail. So go ahead. Were you done, ADS? I didn't know.
Yeah, my land is this here. We have to, the same way that we're being a little insensitive to the condition that they were in, to not understanding why they feel that way. Sometimes I've experienced that in these spaces. There's a tremendous amount of lack of sensitivity and empathy for people, whether they're lack of knowledge, lack of everything, when you're not putting yourself in their shoes. Okay, if you don't put yourself in other people's shoes, then it's very easy to sit back and label people stupid and everything. And I've learned how to put myself in other people's shoes so I do not treat people in a way that I would not want to be treated. I land.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Duncan. Then I'm gonna go to Prevail, and who else? I don't see any other hands, so then it'll just be
You don't
open.
see me? I'm still here.
Okay,
Hey,
Sway me.
I'm still here too,
Wait,
Dana. I
is
had
your
my
hand?
hand up.
Okay, your hand is up. Sway me. Okay, so Duncan, Prevail, Sway me, Carrie, and then whoever
And
else
try to
wants
remember
to
your
come.
order. Remember who's
Yeah,
before you so you know when you're speaking.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Prevail. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Duncan.
All right. Yeah. Now I think about when Mississippi was talking. And that's why I said there's a hook in that Juneteenth need to be celebrated, but the emancipation of all Americans who were slaves, you know, who eventually became Americans, because they were slaves at the time. But all of that should be celebrated, right? But like I said, there's gonna be a hook in it because of just the way people are, to compartmentalize stuff, it's kind of like how when people are in the army, they say no soldier left behind. That would that make me think of how they went back out there to let them know, hey, we free, and I didn't know they didn't listen to the black troops. You know, well, they wasn't all the way black. I think they was 75% um, black American troops who went out there. It consisted of 75% of them. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in that, so I don't speak on that. But I will say that it's like not leaving nobody behind. You know, if we would have celebrated, say, the Emancipation Day, then they would have felt left out. So I think that it was a way to be like, okay, because we could have easily just had a thing that represented everybody in the country that said like Emancipation Day, right? It would have celebrated the day of the Emancipation Proclamation. But then the people in Galveston who have ancestors there could have felt left out. So I feel like by them saying that was like saying nobody should be left behind. And I don't think we should try to be divisive or anything, because you know that the same way you like if you saying that, okay, well, we just gonna acknowledge the people in Galveston, you know, in which their story is should be centered. And it shows the commitment for people to try to continue slavery also after the Emancipation Proclamation, right? But the reason it shouldn't just only be about that, because you got to think it wasn't. It's not like it was against the law to sell slaves across state lines. To say that, oh, these people, us celebrating this is kind of like how Caribbeans celebrating it, Africans celebrating it. No, you're talking about the same lineage, the same ethnic group in America. It wasn't against the law to sell a slave from Alabama or Mississippi or Louisiana into Texas. You know, so it's asinine to try to separate those people as if they are a specific ethnic group and all of us can't celebrate together. You know, I think it's asinine and it's divisive. And another thing is you also ignoring the who I celebrate along with the people who were freed, the black people who were former slaves, who enlisted, who saw battle in the Civil War, and who went out there and to try to free their people in Texas. So I don't know. It's ignorant to even try to have that conversation. In my opinion, it's just ignorance, and I think it's the part of like the type of mindset that always about this whataboutism that is kind of holding us back from doing anything progressive in this country, to be honest. But that's how I see it.
All right. Prevail, and then Sway Me and Carrie. Go ahead, Prevail.
Okay, thanks for your time, Dana, and everybody. Um, where do I even start, brother? First of all, Mississippi, stand up. When you want to call, and Dana, you was right. There's a lot of big things happening in the state of Mississippi right now. That's my home. I'm not there at the moment. I'm in Ohio, but I'm headed back ASAP.
What part of Ohio?
I'm in Dayton at the moment.
Oh, okay. I'm in Cleveland.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. I got to come out there next weekend to pick up some material for a job I'm doing. Anyways, Juneteenth. I've been a bit conflicted about a lot of that. I listened to the judge several times on it, on your show. I've been listening to you for quite some time. And I actually liked what the judge said about, you know what, I got a little bit of a story if you got just a moment. I want to tell you something that happened at the barbershop last weekend. We were talking about Trump being able to go to war without the Senate. I said, no, we learned in like fifth grade that wasn't possible. The president can move the military anywhere on the earth, but he can't start a war without the Senate. This man tell me, he said, no, he's going to start a war on his own. I even looked it up on Google for him. I said, look here, unilaterally, the president cannot start a war. This man gonna stand there and argue with me about something. And then I told some other people that were standing there, I'm like, see, their brains are locked up. They've been programmed. You will waste your time trying to convince an ignorant ass person that they need to try to follow you, and that's how they ended up being 2 years extra in slavery down there in Galveston. The same damn way. To be real with you, I try, and it's so tiresome. I run across it all the time with these young cats that work for me, and I tell them different things. I can show them how to do stuff. They don't listen. This younger generation and the even some of the old fool and a young one is about the same. It is so tiring trying to tell a person with the cage door open to come out. Just come out and see what the world is really like and what's going on. And they refuse, whether it be that they was afraid or whatever it is that it's this Willie Lynch thing, this programming that's still going on today. All of this stuff is really sad. But the saddest thing is trying to tell people, grown ass people, to even just do a little bit of research and see what happened before you speak on stuff. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna stop right there.
All right. Who was next? Sway me, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, okay. So I want to highlight how I know you were speaking about the tweet that Trump made or post or whatever, and people are saying he's meaning Juneteenth. Well, I will say it's quite different than him speaking in that language for the birthright citizenship. It's a conflation there. So I just feel like that's a lot of propaganda and people are reading into it. Now, hey, I will say that it was, as someone else stated, a part of his platinum plan. And then, Miss Opal Lee did fight for Juneteenth as becoming a federal holiday. And she's from Texas. So just wanted to highlight that. And then we all have throughout the nation, if it's the 13 colonies, emancipation days. So in Tennessee, we have Emancipation Day in August. So every state that was a colony will have an Emancipation Day. I just want to highlight that. Now, the other thing about, I'm mental health. So when we speak about our people and all of the traumatic events that happened in 240 some odd years of slavery, and to say that there's have not been any harms or injuries, and we may say now PTSD that we know soldiers in the military suffer from. I can imagine, since we were prisoners of war, things of that nature happening then too, right? So, even now we see, I know I see in what I do, um, the effects of the psychological warfare that was implemented in chattel slavery. And that harm and injury and crimes against humanity was not experienced by others that are now amongst us. And so I am highly offended when others put themselves and a flag that does not represent what this day is about, I'm highly offended because that's not even the colors of America, right? Even it should, if you want to go with that celebration for all, should be an American flag. But then we still have our Juneteenth flag. So, and we have, of course, our Black Heritage flag. So I don't understand how a Pan-African flag in 2025 or Pan-African colors or Caribbean colors are associated with Juneteenth. I feel at this moment it is, yes, a ploy, a psyop, and it's actually kind of, harm. It's very much harm. You're removing the beings out of the narrative and making it about something else. That's where I'm offended. So I'll land it there.
Let me ask Sway a question if you don't
Wait,
mind,
hold
Dana.
on. Can you hold for? Can you?
Cause I thought we could do a third.
Yeah, I
I
have to go to.
thought we
I
could
have
do
to
a
go to Carrie
rebuttal.
because she was next, and then I'll come to you, Duncan.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just feel totally out of the picture since I'm white here. I really do. I never looked at it that way. Being brought up in Pennsylvania and moved down to south of Texas, I knew Texas was a little bit backward when it came to shit like this, but I mean, I was naive a lot about it. But I'm so sorry about it, and I don't think I have to say anything because I don't know much about it other than the fact that I can't believe it went on. So y'all have a great weekend, and I'll just chat with y'all later. Okay, Dana?
Thank you, Carrie. Go ahead, Duncan. Wait, 1 second, Duncan. Thank you,
Yeah,
Freeman Network, for the super chat. It says, "Hey, Dana, Brooklyn was lit today for Juneteenth in Highland Park." Okay, that's what's up. Was it Caribbean? Did they have a Pan African flag waving? Because I'm pretty sure it was a whole bunch of colors and not enough red, white, and blue colors. So let me know the colors of the different flags because they were saying Juneteenth, but they really wasn't representing, I don't think, the true meaning of it. But thank you so much. Though. I appreciate the super chat. Go ahead, Duncan.
Yes. Yeah. Sway. Let me ask you a question. Now, were your people who were slaves in the United States? Were
Mhm.
they only from one state, or did it span different states? Like, or were your family only slaves in one state?
Um, my
Okay.
my paternal
And
side, one state. My maternal side, another state.
Yes, like most people, and and when you go into your like when you talk about your paternal side, I'm like I don't know, I can't speak for your family, but like in my family, like well on my paternal side, my grandmother was enslaved in Mississippi,
I
and
don't
my
fucking hear about it. I feel bad. I just feel
hold on,
fucking
I don't know
bad.
what's going on. I don't know what's going on right now. What's going on?
I don't know. Go ahead, Duncan.
Oh yeah, white white people doing what white people do, but the thing is that on my paternal side, the slaves were in Mississippi and in Louisiana, right? Um, and on my maternal side, it was Tennessee and Alabama. You know, we focus mostly on Alabama, but if I go back on, I think to my great grandfather or something like that, like my great grandmama and my great grandfather, right? My great grandfather, I believe it goes back to Tennessee. So we talking about just different states. So I have a problem. I don't have a problem with Juneteenth representing the nuances of how slavery was slaves were being freed. You know, they got it last in Galveston. I think that should, like I said, no man left behind. It should be represented like that. For the people who were left behind. But to compartmentalize Black Americans, I think that's just being extra and it's splitting hairs. Because none of our people just came from one state. I can't, even though I'm from Alabama, I can't say, well, okay, my folks was only, I'm only representing the Alabama part of the slavery. No, I look at anybody who's Black American as the same story as me. That's how I see it. I think it's, like I said, it's asinine to try to just say that, oh, Black people who represent that. If you try to make a comparison, stop me if I'm wrong, because that's the way I heard it. Comparing us to quote unquote tellers because we are celebrating Juneteenth, right? To compare us to tellers would be asinine. And because, like I said, as you just said, your family history is spread throughout different states on your maternal and paternal side. And I'm pretty sure that many Black Americans, you know, have ancestors who were slaves in Texas. So I don't know. I don't know why we do what we do, but
I think you were
yeah.
misrepresented. I don't know what you heard. I agree. It's for all of us because of that
hmm
experience. I'm not separating at
No,
all.
I didn't
I
say
do
you was, but
understand that
that what
Galveston has a
Mississippi
different
did.
narrative, but
Yeah,
I
and
yeah.
it should be explained, but that's why I wouldn't direct in that saying that you said that, but it was like that what Mississippi clearly said. The guy Mississippi right here, he clearly said that that is the same as Caribbeans jumping on the bandwagon of Juneteenth.
Can I ask something? I want to know is are y'all not happy that people are happy for y'all? Because it just seemed like y'all just want to, you know, nobody else could even just have a drink on that day, commemorating y'all, giving thanks to y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Not if you're not waving our flag
But
and,
what is the
and making
flag though?
sure you honor our
But
ancestors.
what is the
It's not a
flag though?
party
The
time.
flag is
For,
in the blue, the purple pill. That you just
That
Google,
but
just
I
Google.
see I seen that flag around, Dana. I
you
seen
have
that
to have
flag.
some
That's the flag
But
for
education
is
behind
it
the history
but
of the
but
holiday too. You just
I
can't just come in and
I
just,
I
oh, it's about
understand that.
drinking
I
and
understand that
partying. It's
part.
not about
I
that.
understand that part. But y'all don't know the history of St. Patrick's Day and y'all celebrate that too. If
No, we
it's a
don't.
national
No, we
holiday,
don't.
Cool.
We don't
listen,
even
No,
know
we
no black person
look.
celebrate
hold
St.
up.
Patrick.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say something else like Thanksgiving. Everybody don't know the history of Thanksgiving, but they're
Yes,
celebrating
they
that day.
do. That's an
Okay,
American. That's part of our
but
American
but
history.
what
Do
I'm
you
saying
know the
is
history of Thanksgiving?
yes, but what I'm saying
Wait,
is
wait,
why are y'all
hold on,
why?
slow down, slow down. Because I'm going to test you right now. Tell me, Michael. Tell me the history of Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is the day for the pilgrims and the Indians came together, the Mayflower, all that type of stuff. I
No,
know that.
no,
I know
no,
that.
no. Because you have the fairy tale version that probably the queen taught her peasants and the peasants are would be the islands and the countries that the queen colonized, right? The monarch, that's what the monarch taught you. The real story on Thanksgiving, it was a slaughter fest. See, so stop talking about, oh, y'all don't do this, y'all don't do that. And you always say y'all, but then you be quick to say, well, you're
I
really
mean,
FBA and you're not. So you don't
no,
know the history. And that's
I
why
don't.
I appreciate Mississippi. He just dived deeper to
Dane,
the
I,
original essence of Juneteenth.
Dane, I know the slaughter that happened on
No, you don't,
Thanksgiving.
because I asked you, tell me the history of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but we're not
And the first
celebrating the
thing that
slaughter
came,
though.
the first
We're
thing
not
that came
celebrating
out
the slaughter on that
of
day.
your mouth, I said, tell me the history of Thanksgiving. Tell me that story. Your story is the pilgrims and the Indians had a feast and the Mayflower and all the other shit. No, that's inaccurate. So when I say tell me the history, You tell me the accurate history, you don't even have the accurate concept of Thanksgiving.
Jay-Z
So
said
anyway,
Happy Thanksgiving should sound like
I need no,
a
no, no,
murder
no.
to
I
me.
need to go.
We
I
know
need
that,
to.
but
No, no, you don't.
I
No,
knew
you
that
saying it
already.
wrong. No, you didn't, because you would have said it. If you knew, you would have said it.
I knew that, but
So
I was talking about why we
you, what
celebrating
did you
it
know?
though.
What
We're
did
not
you know,
celebrating
Michael?
the murders.
What did you know, Michael? What did you know about
I
Thanksgiving?
knew all of that. I went to the same schools as you, Dana.
You knew all
I'm
of. No,
from
you did
America.
not. No, you did not. You ain't go to the same school
Yes, I
because
did. I'm
I
from
was
New
taught
Jersey.
the truth.
I'm from New
No,
Jersey.
we didn't go to the same
But
schools.
we sure did have the same school
That doesn't
systems
mean we have the
from the
same
state.
education. No. Who said I
Most
went to
most
a public
most
school?
likely though. I learned this. I
No, ain't
learned the
no
same
most.
things
See,
as you,
there
Dana.
you go again. Half-ass information. Half-ass information. Half-ass knowledge.
All I'm saying is though, like, be happy that people want to celebrate your day.
Why would
Damn.
we be happy if you
Why?
want to celebrate if you ain't gonna celebrate it
I
correctly?
mean, god damn
And
though.
then on top of that, you don't even know the correct history of it. So I don't give a shit. Don't tell me to be happy. I don't need your approval. I don't need for you to celebrate it and make me happy. You don't know the history. You don't know anything about it. And you always, not so much you specifically, but people like you, but you always want to sit up here and be sarcastic or throw underhand insults about Black Americans. So no, we don't have to be happy that other people want to celebrate it. We don't give a shit if nobody else celebrate it. We celebrate it. Period. Italians don't need nobody else to celebrate Columbus, and Columbus ain't discovered shit. He damn sure ain't discovered this part of the land of the world. St. Patrick's Irish don't want us. They don't care if we celebrate they shit or not. They still want to celebrate it. So we don't give a fuck about what other people coming in to celebrate it, especially when you're not even celebrating it properly. Anyway, let me go to Indy. Indy, because
It
it's
might
been
be
Oh
a
two
yeah,
double
more
it
mute.
was
minutes and
it,
we want to shut it down. But
yeah, it was a double mute. How you doing, Dana, and your co-host Peter? What's going on?
hey,
What up,
Um,
Andy? Happy Juneteenth.
oh yeah, I appreciate that from you, man. Real talk. So, yeah, I put something in the purple pill about what Donald Trump said today, trying to deflect and make it seem like he was talking about it was too many holidays. Well, why are you bringing that up on today when you see black folks celebrating our freedom, man? You ain't got the dog whistle to your people. That's all that was a dog whistle. Can we all admit that he was dog whistling today and stop playing this game like that ain't what it is? I just want to throw that out there. That's all for happy Juneteenth to everybody. You know what I mean? Um, and I do want to talk about these uh all black city council Democrats and mayors around the nation, like people in my city, where we didn't even really have Juneteenth. We had a little something at the library, but we didn't. I looked around the country and I saw all these grand celebrations and big parties, and my city didn't even have one. But the night before, they were at the city council meeting, voting in the new budget where they raised people's property taxes and gave themselves a 25% raise. Also, the police department. I'm on the phone. I'm on the
why
phone.
is the baby up and not in bed?
You said what?
Why is the baby up and not in bed?
Cause he's up. He's up.
But that he's past
Um,
his bedtime.
Dana,
yeah,
it's
he's up.
Juneteenth. They gotta
But
stay
yeah,
awake.
I was in the city council meeting. The police asked for about $300,000, and the city council ended up giving them $644,000. But they raising everybody's property tax, water bills, um, giving themselves a 25% raise. Uh, you have 3 or 4 council members who have missed almost 1/6 of the total meetings in the last year. Um, we pay for their cell phone bills. A whole lot of information came out in the budget of what the taxpayers are paying for, and a lot of them are very unaccessible. We don't have those cell phone numbers that they collect that we're paying for to even call them and question them about anything. And it was just real funny how the police were
talking about all this transparency and new body cameras and all this stuff. And nobody's been able to view any of the body cams of all the incidents that we've had where this black city council is siding with the police every time there's a black victim. So I was just real pissed off today to look around my city and see that there were really no Juneteenth huge celebrations that were going on like all around the country. So yes, I'm talking about the black Democrats shitting on their own constituents in my city in Kinston, North Carolina. So I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
That's all. That's my submission for tonight.
All right. Um, Javon, and just real quick, sure, I dropped you down a listener because I needed to make space to bring up another speaker. But if you want to request to come up to say something, just do so. But to do it in the next 10, 15 minutes because we're going to be closing out at midnight. Go ahead, Javon. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, so just real quick, I wanted to get this point across because I've seen this today. I was in a space earlier this morning, and it's something that's been really been bothering me with respect to the colors for today. And I tweeted something out earlier, right? So like Juneteenth is an American holiday designed to celebrate Americans in the United States of America, right? Black Americans in particular. So Um, something that's really been bothering me is I've seen it across the board from a lot of organizations that quote unquote want to celebrate Juneteenth. They've been using a lot of African colors. And this is no disrespect to the people from the continent of Africa, but this is an American holiday, and the colors of the Juneteenth flag are red, white, and blue for a reason. When General Gordon Granger got into Texas and told those enslaved folks that they actually had been free. The 13th Amendment had been proposed in January. I believe he got there in the middle of June. Like it's an American holiday. He was repping the red, white, and blue, Old Glory, the American flag. And so, what I would argue, and this is something I said earlier, but I say it again, is that this holiday is distinctly American, and that Black folks across the country we need to reclaim our Americanness. There's been a concerted effort by the Pan-Africanists as other, as of a different land. But at a certain point, if you've been in a region, an area for 400 to 500 years, you are distinct. And Black Americans are a distinct ethnic group. And so we need to own that and reclaim that. So I apologize if that derails the space. I wasn't trying to, but it's been something that's been on my heart and my mind all day because I've been seeing a lot of red, black, and green, and I don't understand why anyone's repping any type of African colors when our people built this nation, and thus we should own it. So I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Danny, can I close behind him on that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. And I'm close it. Hey, thank you for making that. And that you, I was going to come in and say basically the same thing. I was sitting here watching TV today, and well, first, let me say this about Trump. Trump is just mad that he didn't get to do it on his time. He's just a little spoiled little kid and everything. You gotta dismiss Trump. I want to throw that out there. Trump, if he would have been happy if he would have been able to do it, and he would have got all the props and everything for it. But because Biden took it from him, he's just a little upset about that. But anyway, um, I saw also a misrepresentation of the colors and everything. And I'm sitting up there in, I think it was in Washington D.C. somewhere, and you got African. And I'm not mad about Africa. You can be happy about it, but Juneteenth being celebrated, and only thing you see is everything jumping around. They playing African drums and red, black, and green colors and everything. And I just thought that was just inappropriate. So I think you was
Well,
spot on it.
it's disrespectful, right? Like our ancestors. Well, like if you want to be honest about it, and this is why I tell people out the history. General Granger was a Union general who
Yeah,
rolled into Texas, repping the American flag. So any idea that this is somehow an African holiday, I
right.
think is a push by Pan-Africanists. And I think it harms Black Americans when we discuss anything related to the United States, because it gives people the agency and the opportunity to say, well, you don't even claim this country. You think that you're from a continent hundreds of miles away across an ocean, when our ancestors have been here for 400 to 500 years. In every other circumstance, you would claim that that has been a different ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Right.
I don't get the desire to be African instead of American. And I know Africa's a continent, not a country, but in our terms, when it comes to the US, these Pan-Africanists don't make a distinction. They tell you that this is where your ancestors are from, so you should feel some long forgotten connection to a continent that frankly would not claim you if you returned. Like, our people are here. This is our ethnic group. We have a language, we have a culture, we have music, we have dance, we have food. This is our place, and we should own it, is my argument.
And so I agree with that. I just found I'm a verified Freeman, and I'm excited about that because I just found at 64 years old, I located my great great grandmother, born in 1862, off the plantations in Georgia. I didn't even know that I had family members all the way in Georgia. Matter of fact, I had an extension Georgia, Florida, because I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and Alabama. But my great great grandmother was from the plantation in Georgia, 1862 Martha. Juneteenth means so much more to me now than it ever were before, because it means something, because I actually found someone that I know for a fact, my bloodline, that was a descendant of slave, and they were a freeman. So yeah, Juneteenth means a lot to me, and I think anybody, if you haven't gotten verified, you should get verified to find out whether or not
Can, can,
you're a freeman or not.
can I ask a question, Dana? I'm sorry to I don't want to take over the room. I'm just curious for anyone in the room who disagrees, because ADS American was just he pulled up a really good point, and I'd be curious to hear the alternative argument as to why there is such a push to adopt African heritage. Like, I don't understand. My ancestors were enslaved on the coast of North Carolina, and that goes back into the 1500s. So I don't get it. I don't get the like.
Where they came
We,
from?
pardon me.
Where
Well,
did the government tell you they came from?
There is no
They're right here.
recollection.
They were
No,
made
where did
right
the
Ne,
here on this
government
soil.
say the
They didn't
slaves
come
came
from
from?
anywhere.
Negro
Right here.
Negro
Where
was
did
what
the
was on the
government say the
census.
slaves came from, bro? Answer my question.
What there,
You don't
The
that
government
understand
was
that
They
we
were
Africa.
we have
Y'all
manufactured
act like it's
on the
a
multiple
bad thing to say you
plantation.
generations
came
right
from
here on this
Africa or
soil.
something.
well, no,
No, we
No,
were
The
manufactured on
slaves from Jamaica
plantation.
came from Africa.
wait. Can I explain this?
but it's not the same for
Because
us
It's
here
not
in
the
wait,
America.
can I
same.
The
explain
slaves
this?
from
Because
America came from Africa.
well,
No, they
Y'all
did
wanna
not.
No,
No,
all right. Let Javon explain, and then I need to go to
yeah.
Ms. Berna.
Thank you, Dana. I just want to explain this because this is really important, right? So, like, no one is disputing that some black people in the U.S. came from Africa, and the reason why I say some is because I recently discovered 6 months ago that the paternal side of my family is actually indigenous. I actually have tribal membership that I discovered because those individuals, their tribe was wiped out and classified as Negro or mulatto after being wiped out. And so when you say that, where did they came from? What I'm trying to tell you is that some people's roots, right? I can only speak on my behalf, are so much deeper than people who were here brought as slaves. Some people have actually, their ancestors have been of this land for hundreds of years. And I don't have any problem saying that the maternal side of my family came from Africa. What I have an issue with is I think that when Black Americans rightfully say, we built this country, we bled for this country, we've done everything for this country, right? Because we have, right? In so many ways, whether we get credit or not. What I think is discrediting is to then go, but I belong to somewhere else, right? Because that gives people the opportunity to say, how the fuck can you say you built this country when you claim to be from somewhere else? So clearly you have no ownership over anything that you supposedly built.
So how
I
you feel
think
about
it's
the
a
white people?
I think it's a deleg. Well, the white people
They
will
all
say,
came from somewhere else too. But they
That's a
built this
great
country too.
that's a great point. And you know what Italian or Irish Americans say is that they say my ancestors came from Ireland, but I'm an American.
All the
My
white people
ancestors
came
came
from
from
somewhere
Italy.
else.
My
British.
ancestors came from Italy, but I'm an American. We are the only demographic that thinks it's appropriate to say we built this country, but I'm not from here, so it doesn't really even matter. Like it's an insane logic to I think put forth. No one is discrediting that some black folks came from Africa, right? Not every single black folk. You can't even discredit that because per the census, some of them were reclassified as Negro in the US Census. My point is again, how can we claim that we built this country and still have a longing for an ethnic group or a tribe that we don't even understand? In Africa, they have tribes. That is the most important kind of denominator in Africa outside of
They
religion.
have
Either you're Muslim.
countries. They
Well,
have
no,
countries.
well, countries don't.
And
What, what,
dialect.
what,
And
what,
dialect.
what,
Wait, let him
yeah,
finish because I
let me
need to
land,
say
right? Because your dialect is also based off of your tribe. So that's kind of like the basic denominator, right? Outside of religion. Countries in Africa are obviously fabricated, and you would agree, as I will, as I do agree, that they were created by colonialists who decided this will be a
I
country.
disagree. I disagree.
Well, no, the boundaries of
I
African
disagree.
countries were decided by Europeans, not Africans,
I
right?
disagree again. I
What
disagree.
you
All
disagree?
right, so you could disagree, but
Is that?
can you land your mind? Because I want to get to
Yeah,
Miss.
I'll land here. So I want everyone to look up something called the Concert of Europe, which happened in the 1800s, where European countries, England, France, Belgium, that's where you get the DRC from, they split up Africa into countries into borders that still exist today. There's really nothing to disagree with there. You can look that up. The point I'm trying to make is that those are arbitrary borders that don't respect tribal lines because Europeans didn't understand African tribes. But what I'm getting at is if we're going to go off the denominator of tribes, Black Americans are a distinct tribe based in the United States of America. And that is what allowed us to have our own distinct culture. And I think we need to reclaim our American heritage instead of throwing it away because we may
Fact.
not like things. That is insane to me. And it allows other people to say, why should we listen to you? You don't even claim this land. We're the only group that thinks it's appropriate to not claim the land that we built. We built it, and thus we should claim it. That is my ultimate argument.
You can't run from the truth.
All right,
It's called
all
his
right. So
story,
I
not
need to.
history.
All right, stop. I need to go to Miss Berna, and then I'm gonna get to the hands, and I'm gonna go to Sway Me. Go ahead, Miss Berna. Miss Berna, you
Miss
can.
Bruna,
Bruna, whatever. Bruna, you can unmute.
you gotta unmute your mic, Miss Bruna.
Going once.
Going twice.
All right.
Sold. Next.
Go ahead, Sway Me.
Okay, so I wanted to answer Javon's question. Um, I look at Pan-Africanism as a psyop. And it's a psyop to get Americans, Black Americans, the freedmen, to, yes, disown their equity, disown that this is their land. And most of this is ours, right? Everyone is coming here and receiving the benefits and rewards of our work, right? And our inventions. Right. We have to look at, and we fought in every war, our allegiance and loyalty to this country. Right. We're everywhere. We are everywhere in this history. And now we have beings coming to the soil that want what we got. And we have to, I agree with you, we must stand in it. That's why I am highlighting Freedmen. Oh, and if you're welcome to join us in DC, July 3rd through the 5th on our panel. So yeah, hit me up, Javon. And we're talking about the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, honoring our veterans. We have also senior panels, and we want youth. So I'll land it there. Thanks.
The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are the Black Amendments of the Black American, the Freedmen Amendments of the Constitution. This is something that Dr. Cloud Anderson, excuse me, says, and I
You just
completely
missed my
agree.
space yesterday.
I sure did.
Bah.
I just followed you because it seems like you're someone who's educated on these topics. And here's the thing. Everyone knows, like you can look at my profile, know I come from the MAGA Republican conservative world. These are things that I not only say to us, I say to them. And it may not be the I guess the most receptive crowd, but these are facts. These are facts, right? And we are, as Black Americans, we are of this country. I don't know what to tell I don't know how to explain this to anybody else. We are Americans. This is our fucking country. We allowed 20 million migrants, illegal aliens to come in this bitch, burn American flags, hold Mexican flags, and loot our businesses. We are the communities that hurt most from this. And somehow, some way, the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus think it's appropriate to encourage this shit. It is insane to me. I don't understand it. I can't wrap my brain around it, but this is why I am who I am. And even when I worked in Republican politics, I had a quote in my bio, and I know Malcolm X, obviously he had a little bit of foreign blood on him, but I think Malcolm X had it exactly right. I am a Black American populist nationalist who believes what is best for the American people and our people is to focus on our freaking country and stop giving money away to people who hate us, to include the Mexicans, the Iranians, the Pakistanis, the Afghanis. We got enough problems at home. If we can send $30 billion overseas to teach transgender ideology in Peru, we can take care of every single Black veteran on the streets today. Period, point blank, no excuses to me. So that's my ultimate. If it, I may be in a room with some new folks, so I just kind of like clear the air. Dana, thank you for having this space and allowing me to speak.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna send you a message. To ask you a question about something. So look out for the message from me.
I got you, sister.
Okay. All right, Miss T, you're the last person because me and Peter did decide 2 hours, 10 to 12 on Thursdays. So go ahead, Miss T.
Hey Dana, happy
Yeah,
Juneteenth.
how are
Happy
you?
Juneteenth to the family. Dana, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Um, hey Javon. Um, quick answer to your question is exactly what Sway Me said. It's a psyop. These agencies are being paid to um come against us as Black Americans and to get us to divest from our ownership here in this land. Um, and to the other gentleman, I really came up to address his question when he said, what did the people tell you your family was from? It's not about what the people said. We, as Black Americans, we have verbal history handed down through our families. Many of us have 100-year-old Bibles, and in our Bibles, there is a record kept of every birth and every death that is in our families. And recently, PBS did a special, and the transatlantic slave trade rolls have indicated that less than 400,000 Africans actually came to the United States. It was around 388,000 and a few more. So many of us descend from, as Javon said, indigenous people who were already here in America who were enslaved. And we were also reclassified when they began to do the census. And a lot of white people that were doing the census, where you begin to do your lineage, you find out they couldn't even spell. There's so many different ways that they have misspelled our family names on those census records. And they wrote down your race according to how they saw you. If you had soft, ski hair, in their opinion, and you had a light color eyes, you may have been classified as mulatto. Um, If you were a dark hue with kinky hair, you may have been classified as Negro. But if you do your research and study the slave roles, the transatlantic slave roles, it will tell you how many people actually came from Africa to the US. And on the census, if you have Africans in your lineage, it will actually say African. We have a few people that have done their lineage and it actually says this person was African. So when we do our lineage, we find out who we are. We find out even more how proud we are to be a descendant of people from this land. And we have been here for well before 1619. And I'll land with that. And again, family, happy Juneteenth.
Everybody comes from Africa, no matter how far you go back. So I'm always acknowledge it.
That is a theory, sir. The
Everybody comes from
Africa
Africa.
is
Them, you
a
see them
theory.
pyramids in Egypt? Them pyramids in Egypt is older than.
You see the pyramids in
eh,
Memphis.
You see them
Why is it
pyramids
that
in
they
South
won't allow you to
America?
go into the Grand
You see
Canyon?
them pyramids in
You
South
you see the
America? Ain't no
pyramids in
pyramids
the
in
Grand
Memphis like
Canyon?
that. They not official.
But you're not
If
from
you see the
Egypt,
pyramids in the
They not
Grand
Michael.
official
Canyon?
though. But them pyramids in Egypt with them scrolls, 50,000-year-old scrolls, it'll tell you the land of Kim, the land of the blackface. That's where civilization started. So I'm gonna take it back to
Wait,
there.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
technically, hold on for a second. Technically, civilization didn't really technically start in Egypt. Because first of all, you got the name wrong. It was Kemet. Egypt is a Greek or Roman name. It was, yeah, it's Greek. So it was Kemet. And it wasn't just the Egypt that you see today. You don't even know the full demographic of the Kemites. So I don't, Michael, I don't listen to
You
you
ain't just
and
hear me say
your
the. You ain't just hear me say the land of
pseudo
Kim, the
history.
land of.
No, it's no such thing as the land of Kim. You have pseudo history. Now, and I'm not going to end this space with your last thoughts. So I'm gonna go to Mississippi, Javon, and then Peter will close us out. Go ahead, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to respond a bit to what Javon was saying. A lot of the reason why they want us, they out here flying though in those cities, they flying those green and red and black flags and everything is because those are Pan African folk. They name tell them what they are. They don't identify with America. They don't identify mostly with their American heritage. They identify with Africa and African heritage. They base everything off race. We all know race ain't nothing but a social construct created by Europeans, just like the name Africa itself and the term Africans, which they identify along with, even though they claim to be anti-white. And the fact is, they keep telling this to Black Americans because they wanna push this idea. They want to perpetuate this stereotype that no matter how long your ancestors been here, and no matter how American you are, how you built this place up, that Black people are outsiders, or that we some perpetual foreigners in our own land. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that we built the U.S. and that we got indigenous bloodlines in this land, that there was mixing going on all over the place back then for those who ended up getting mixed from Africans and natives and other people, whites and others. They not willing to acknowledge that. They want you to ignore, literally, you got like almost a 500,000 15th great grandparents. They want you to ignore 500,000 of those people to acknowledge a potential 2 or 4 Africans who might have been in that line. They want you to ignore the rest of your lineage, the rest of your DNA. They want you to ignore it. And let me tell you, these folk ain't necessarily your genetic ancestor. They may be your genealogical ancestor, and that's a thing that a lot of people need to really do a deep dive on. Everybody who is your genealogical ancestor is not your genetic ancestor. And when you go back to your 15th great grandparent, you only literally inhabit 20 of all those 500,000 people. You literally only get like 20 of those people's DNA that led to who you are today. Out of all them people, you only get 20 people whose DNA transferred all the way down the line to you. And who's to say if those people who you got, that those 20 people were Africans, indigenous people here, white? You don't know. And they just telling you this based off a theory that they came up with, that they got from a white man based on the theory of evolution. These people was measuring skulls and calling that in a form or a sign of intelligence. They don't know. But to end all that, don't go for that, because all it's doing basically is denying you justice, it's denying you your reparations, it's denying you your land rights, and it's basically excluding us out of a land that we built. It's decentering us, it's Africanizing us, and by telling us that we basically ain't got no legitimate claim here to America because we ain't nothing but some generic, perpetual African foreigners. And with that, I'll land.
Thank you, Mississippi. All right, Javon, and that's it. Peter will close us out. Go ahead, Javon.
Yeah, look, just one thing I wanted to mention, because this seems to be kind of a weird topic every time I bring it up. But someone mentioned Egypt earlier. Let me be clear. The Arab world were the most prolific enslavers of Africans. So this romanticization of the Arab world is crazy. People talk about Egypt. Egyptians don't even identify as African. Most of them identify as Arab, and that's for a reason.
Why you want people
Those
to
people,
romanticize over modern American slavery though?
No, Michael, you gotta you
well,
cannot get off your mic. Let him
well,
finish because we're about to close. So go ahead.
well, well. There's an old saying my grandmother used to say all the time, which is "a hit dog will holler," right? And so I've said nothing defending American chattel slavery. I'm simply bringing up a point that this idea that Egyptians or the Arab world generally was somehow kinder to Black Americans is false. They enslaved us over more centuries than the transatlantic slave trade ever had existed. They more double the time of the transatlantic slave trade. But that's a topic that no one wants to talk about. And so, what I'd say to you, Michael, or King Michael, I think it is that I would encourage you and everybody else in this room to look up the Arab slave trade. And in fact, to get this one, there is actually still modern day slavery
It,
in the Arab world today. Like,
it's still going
And
on
I would
right now.
encourage all of y'all to look up who are the
the, just
original people of Egypt.
I,
Look up that first.
well, again, a hit dog will
I
holler.
want you to look up that first.
Again, a hit dog will holler. And so, if you look today at which countries not only outlawed slavery last, but still continue it to this day, and you will find that the majority of them are Northern African and or Arab countries. And everyone knows that Northern Africa identifies as Arab. Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, those
They
are
got overthrown in Egypt. They got overthrown, bro.
Hey,
okay.
Michael, stop. Stop interrupting him. I want him to finish so I can close
Well,
out the space. Go ahead, Javon.
Dan, I'm just like, this is the point, right? A hit dog will holler. When you strike a chord, people will come off their mic and tell you that you're wrong without any evidence, right? So you can talk about the original people of Egypt, but what I'm talking about is reality. And so if you, me, Dana, or anybody else brought our black asses to Egypt, I can guarantee you that they don't consider you the original people of Egypt, right? Because the Arab world enslaved more Africans than the transatlantic slave trade ever did. We're talking about upwards of 20 million. Okay. So I encourage everyone to look that up. Again, I have no problem saying that some of my descendants came from the African continent, but I'm an American and my ancestors have been here for 500 years. So this idea that I'm not and that I should connect to a continent in which I don't understand, in which my mother doesn't understand, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, is absurd. You can keep connecting to some fantasy world that you want. But last time I checked, Michael, you live in the United States. If you love Africa so much, I'm assuming you would move there and then educate Americans on the best way
Soon,
to
soon.
It's
integrate.
it's still in
But
your blood. It's
I
still in
rather
your blood
be
somewhere.
a king than
excuse
a
me,
slave any day.
you're not a
I'd
king
rather
in
be a
Africa.
god than
You gotta stop. I'm trying to close out.
Dana, this is the insane argument. The Americans somehow think if you go to
Hey,
Africa, you're
hey,
somehow a
Javon, it's
king.
still in your black ass blood somewhere.
No one said it wasn't. I'm an American, though. So you guys can keep claiming Africa, but when it comes to conversations about the United States, I better not hear none of y'all Africans, self proclaimed Africans, comment on the policies or legislation in the United States. Since you care so much about Africa, I better hear you advocating for Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, excuse me, Burkina Faso, Democratic Republic. Don't comment at all about U.S. policies. Go back to the country that you believe claims you.
Why?
No, no, no.
Can
Excuse, no,
Can
no,
I ask you something?
no,
Why you
no.
don't want to acknowledge that you might have some African blood in you, though?
Okay, so did I not already acknowledge the fact that half of my family's ancestry is from the African continent? What I'm telling you is that when you have 500 years of separation, you are different. Hell, if a bird from Asia comes to the US and and is there for 500 years, it's considered a different type
Blah
of
blah
bird.
blah blah blah. Hey, can Peter close us out?
Well,
Cause this is
Can I
I'm
say
playing the
one thing real quick,
violin on
Dana?
this
yeah.
Please, just
nigga.
one
So
thing.
so Dana,
Dana, just one thing, please.
So Dana, I'll end with this because clearly, see, this is what when people don't want to hear the truth, when they're closed minded and uneducated, they say they don't want to hear you. Blah
Oh
blah blah
Lord,
blah
y'all
blah
hear
blah
the
blah.
violin playing? Y'all
Right,
hear the violin playing?
right,
I do.
right.
Can I say one thing, Dana, please?
What
I just, I just,
I
I just want to say,
my,
I just want to say this.
you,
Listen. The mind games, the mind fucking that they did on Black Americans is crazy. They tell you you come from a slave, and that's all you come.
Right. I can't listen to no more tether babble because you doing it again, Michael. And you said the mind games of Black Americans as if Caribbeans and everybody else didn't have mind games played on them. So, um, Peter, can you close us out?
Absolutely. This has been a great space. I hope
Oh,
everyone
before you
enjoyed.
close this out, let me just say this. Thank you again to Freeman. He says, no Caribbeans, all foundational. The Freeman FBA was out there thicker than welfare peanut butter. Talking about the Juneteenth celebration in Brooklyn today. All right, so that's what's up. Shout out to Brooklyn. Thank you, Freeman, for the super chat. Everybody on YouTube, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Everybody that came up in this space, thank you so much. I appreciate you and everybody listening. Thank you guys so much. Go ahead, close us out, Peter.
Yep, it's a great space. I hope everyone enjoyed Juneteenth, celebrated in their own way. This is a step forward in us becoming a more perfect union as Americans, and I'm excited for the future. I think bright things are on the horizon, and I'll check you guys back on Sunday. We'll have some updates on the Diddy trial, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the evening.
Oh, are you going there tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow, and then definitely all next week because the defense is putting their case in chief on, and I'm excited for that. And I think Diddy's going to win. I really do. From hearing what
I
juror
don't.
number 6 had to say, that he was prepared to acquit him on all the charges. I think there are other men on that jury and potentially women on the jury that are going to do the same. And I'm excited. I like it.
Okay. All right, cool. And everybody stay off that Pan African bullshit. Everybody
A
have a
great
wonderful
space,
week.
Dana. You know, I come here as a guest. You really did a good job, you and Peter. I really appreciate the well organized way you put things together.
Thank you. Appreciate
And
that.
I don't pay that compliment out to too many people. So
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, like I said, stay off that Pan African bullshit, and everybody enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. Stay safe. See you guys back here on Sunday, but subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Real Dana, because I'm trying to put a panel together for tomorrow night. Sway Me, she comes on the panel, and she's a regular, so I'm trying to get more people. I did invite you, Michael, but you claim you busy on Friday, so that's fine.
I'm gonna be free tomorrow night. I'm gonna be free
No.
tomorrow night.
Okay, and then I did invite you, Indy. I don't know if you're available. Javon, I'm gonna hit you up in a message, and yeah, and anybody else who's interested in being on my panels on Friday, send me a message. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. Bye.
And I
You too, Dana.